Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Reiki Recovery. I can fast forward infinitely. Chapter 61. The spiritual weapon, the long sword, rose into the sky, and led the 28 apprentices from Zhongling province straight to the distance. Chen Xuan watched Su Emu's figure disappear. He took out the communicator and retracted it and took it out again. After hesitating again and again, he still dialed a number. "Hey, uncle, why did you think of calling me? I thought you would never contact us again." A sweet female voice came from the communicator, and one could tell from the voice that she was not very old. Chen Xuan coughed awkwardly. "Yun Shi, it's nothing else, uncle just wants you to take care of someone." "Okay, no problem, uncle, just say what you want." Chen Xuan then said, "His name is Su Mu. He is a monster from Donghai City. He has a bit, how should I put it, he doesn't want to suffer, just take care of him a little bit." Then, Chen Xuan talked about the general situation of Su Mu. "Understood, uncle, don't worry, I'm here, no problem." With the other party's consent, Chen Xuan continued, "By the way, don't let your father know about this, that's all." After 15 finished speaking, Chen Xuan quickly hung up the communication. Chen Xuan, surnamed Chen, came from Fucheng. There are 5 major legions in the Tang Mansion, among which the general of the demon-suppressing army is none other than Zhu Ying, the elder of the Chen family. But in Zhongling province, few people really knew Chen Xuanhe's identity, and he himself was unwilling to mention it. If it wasn't for Su Mu this time, he wouldn't have taken the initiative to contact there, and it wasn't his peers, but a junior, his niece. Besides, Su Mu and other 28 people, riding on the spiritual weapon flying sword, were all very excited. Many of the people present had never seen this thing before, and it was a good thing that only those in the 3 realms of Qi training could possibly use. Like the weapons they use, they can't become bigger or smaller, and they can't support them to fly. Along the way, the scenery reverses rapidly, and the distance between a glance is several miles. While many apprentices were amazed, Yan Yun, the guard who controlled the flying sword, was not idle, he had been observing Su Mu. He is also full of curiosity about Su Mu. Su Emu's test results are full of bright spots, but also full of doubts. 9 refinements in 1 realm. Jujuan, this is the biggest bright spot, even if it is placed in Fucheng, it has been rare for so many years. Secondly, with 58,000 vitality, 61,000 basic strength, and 1.28 million kilograms of combat strength, in the end the actual battle killed a monster with a combat strength of 2 million kilograms. This is too weird. He doesn't believe the claim that there is moisture in the test. The ombudsman is not a vegetarian. These inspectors are not under the jurisdiction of his guardian, but are directly dispatched by the Detang Mansion. They are directly responsible to Detang Mansion. In order to ensure the fairness and impartiality of the test, these inspectors not only have to be strong, but also have to receive special training and have a vicious vision. Otherwise, everyone will be cheating. What is the point of the 50,000 calorie blood training score line set by the Tang Wufu? Since there is no moisture, it means that the test results are basically true. In this way, Su Emu's question is very magical. The combat power of 1.28 million kills a monster with a combat power of 2 million. This is the most amazing thing. There may be many reasons, nothing more than that Su Mu changed his combat skills. Changing from the Zon level to the Earth level, his strength has increased, and he obviously discovered that Su Emu's talent for practicing combat skills is extremely good. The rainstorm pear blossom that was displayed by referring to the gun in that move is not only a great achievement and perfection, but a state of transformation. Even if he has not cultivated any combat skills to the transformation realm, it does not prevent him from being able to confirm that it is the ability of transformation realm combat skills, that is, the transformation between reality and reality. Otherwise, no matter how strong Su Mu is, he will be in a hurry when facing a siege of the same level. This was the first place Yan Yun was curious about. The second is today's battle. The combat power shown by Su Mu is not at the level of 2 million combat power. Randomly pointed out that even an apprentice like Zhang Hua with 70,000 calories of energy and blood was directly injured and had no resistance at all. What does this mean? It shows that the strength of Su Emu's energy and blood far exceeds that of Zhang Hua. Therefore, he was very curious about how strong Su Mu is now. But he can't ask directly, everyone has secrets. Su Mu was so horrified by the sight that Yan Yun only grinned and looked away. Time passed in a hurry, and soon a boundless piece of fiery red soil appeared in everyone's eyes. As it approached, the temperature of the air continued to increase. Needless to say, everyone knows that the so-called Land of Flames has arrived. This year's training place of Datang Wufu is here. The Land of Flames is said to have been formed by a demon practicing here. It occupies a large area, and there are a large number of monsters, as well as many earth-fire caves. Inside the Land of Flames, there is a large military camp, which is the first camp of the demon-suppressing army, one of the 5 famous legions. The 1st Battalion of the demon-suppressing army was divided into 10 smaller battalions named after dragons, lions, tigers, leopards, bears, jackals, eagles and snakes. Dragon Camp is the core of the 1st camp, where the Chinese army is located. At this moment, Su Mu and other students have been settled down. Before coming here, the 10 classes of students participating in the training camp in Daeong Mansion have already been divided into classes. Those ranked 1st to 100 will stay in the Dragon Camp, those ranked 101st to 200 will be assigned to the Lion Camp, and so on. And each large class is divided into 10 small classes, and the first class of Longying is the Tianjiao ranked 1st to 10th. At this moment, Su Mu and others have been taken down to settle down. In the big tent of the Chinese army in Longying, that is, the tent of the commander of the 1st Battalion, Yan Yun, who sent Su Mu and others to come, did not leave in a hurry, but chatted with the commander Chen Yaonan. The two are the same age, and they are classmates. It is natural for old acquaintances to catch up when they meet. After chatting for a while, Yan Yun said directly, "Commander Chen, please do one thing." "Oh, do you ever beg me to?" Chen Yaonan is also a middle-aged man, but he is obviously better at talking than Yan Yun. "What? I have become the commander-in-chief, so I can't beg you now. Tell me, what can you do?" Hearing this, Yan Yun continued, "Su Mu, I am an apprentice in Zhongling province, please take care of me." "Huh, Su Mu, is that the guy who ranks 7th with 58,000 calories?" Although Chen Yaonan has never met Su Mu, he immediately reacted when he heard Yan Yun mention it, because it is the name he has heard the most recently. He also took a look at this year's Hidden Dragon ranking to inquire about Su Mu's information. Because Su Mu is quite special, with only 58,000 calories of energy and blood, but he is ranked 7th. You must know that there are many apprentices behind him with higher energy and blood values than him. Yan Yun nodded. "I'm not worried about anything else, I'm just worried that he will suffer a loss when he meets the arrogance of Fucheng." In terms of strength, Yan Yun is really not worried about Su Mu. What he is worried about is that Su Mu will provoke the powerful forces in Shangfu City, and it will be troublesome at that time. Hearing this, Chen Yaonan shook his head. "Your worry is completely superfluous. What happened to Fucheng Tianjiao?" "Fucheng Tianjiao is a bully. Don't forget, this is the Great Tang Mansion, and the king of the Great Tang dynasty also started from the beginning, and all living beings are equal in the Great Tang Mansion." Yan Yun didn't refute, and continued with a smile. "I didn't say that, anyway, I just ask you to take care of it, you can say yes or no." Chen Yaonan smiled. "Don't even think about special care. If you really need to take care of them, which one of the 10 people in Class 1 of Longying shouldn't be taken care of? They all have such a deep background, even my daughter is in it." Hearing this, Yan Yun didn't react much at all, he stood up and patted his clothes. "It's up to you, this Su Mu is from East Sea City, and holds a blood-spraying gun, and has learned the combat skills of the Rainstorm and Pear Blossoms, let's go." After the words fell, Yan Yun turned around and left. But Chen Yaonan's eyes widened, and he appeared in front of Yan Yun in an instant, blocking his way. "You mean Chen Xuan, why doesn't his own people say hello to me?" Chen Yaonan was stunned. "Hey, that's your family business, it's none of my business." Yan Yun left a word and slapped his ass and left. After walking a few steps, he stopped again and said one more sentence. "By the way, this little guy may surprise you unexpectedly." Yan Yun left, but Chen Yaonan was not calm anymore. Chen Xuan was not someone else, it was his Chen family, his own younger brother. Even though he had fallen out with the old man and his elder brother, it still couldn't change the blood relationship. Chen Yaonan yelled with a dark face, "Come on, call Yunshi." Not long after, a girl with a face like a porcelain doll and a fiery red dress arrived. Father, are you looking for me? There is a girl named Su Mu in your class, please take care of her on weekdays. Chen Yaonan frowned and confessed. Hearing this, the little girl's eyes widened immediately. What's the situation? Does this Su Mu have 3 heads and 6 arms or something? Why do you entrust me to take care of it? What did you say? Who else entrusted you? Chen Yaonan frowned and asked immediately. No one, I know. The little girl bounced away. She is Chen Jia Tianjiao Chen Yunxi, who ranks 3rd on the Qianlong list. At the same time, Su Mu was assigned to the residence of Longying, the town demon army. It is said that the residence is actually a marching tent. It's very simple. Of course he came to participate in the training camp, not to enjoy it, and he didn't care so much about these living conditions. At least everyone is the same, no matter where they come from, they all live in marching tents. Everyone's marching tent has a number, and the number is naturally based on the ranking. Su Mu's is number 7. Inside the tent, Su Mu was about to take stock of his recent harvest, but he smelled a pleasant smell approaching quickly. Before he could react, a fiery red figure stepped into the tent directly. Are you Su Mu? Su Mu froze for a moment. What appeared in front of his eyes was a pretty little girl. Her face was as delicate as a porcelain doll. She was not tall, but her figure was very predictable. As soon as the little girl came in, she asked with her hips crossed. Su Mu frowned. It's me, you are. It's just you, listen up. From now on, I will hang out with my sister, and my sister will cover you, but you have to be obedient. I have heard a lot about your deeds, so don't make trouble for me. The little girl crackled and said a word. Su Mu still looked confused. The little girl didn't care whether Su Mu listened or not, and continued. My name is Chen Yunxi, and the demon-suppressing army belongs to our family. Don't worry, you won't lose money if you follow my sister. Of course, the premise is to be obedient, if you dare not speak. Having said that, Chen Yunxi paused, and waved her small fist at Su Mu. If you're disobedient, I won't discuss beating you up. I'm not one of those Zhongling city fools. After finishing speaking, Chen Yunxi waved her hand directly. Call me if you have anything to do, I'm on number 3. In the blink of an eye, Chen Yunxi disappeared again. It really comes and goes in a hurry. But until she left, Su Mu was still in a dazed state. Chen Yunxi. Su Mu shook her head. She didn't take Chen Yunxi's words seriously at all, no matter who said hello to her to take care of herself. Obviously, the person who greets her is not trustworthy. With Chen Yunxi like this, it would be nice not to let others take care of her. Su Mu complained helplessly. Not long after, bugles sounded in the barracks. When they were settled before, someone told them that this is the horn of the assembly. So, Su Mu got out of the tent, and then walked out of the dragon camp until he came to the huge school field in the center of the camp. More than 1,000 apprentices have all arrived, and this is the mobilization meeting for the training camp. The mobilization meeting was presided over by Chen Yaonan, commander of the 1st Battalion of the Zhenyao Army. What is said is naturally the content and precautions of this training camp. The content is very simple, a total of 30 days. The task of the first 10 days is training. The next 20 days were spent hunting monsters. In short, only 1,000 people will be left in the end, and they will be eliminated directly after the opening of the military merit ranking. Then Chen Yaonan talked about the division of classes. A total of more than 1,000 people were divided into 10 small battalions, and each small battalion was divided into 10 classes. Of course, the last battalion had more than 10 classes. In Class 1 of Longying, the instructor is Chen Yaonan himself, a strong martial artist. The 2nd to 4th squads of Longying are in charge of 3 deputy commanders, who are also strong Wuzun. Longying Class 5 to 6, the leader is in charge. Of course, class division is just for the convenience of training and management, except that the instructors take care of the previous class. In order to ensure the fairness of the training camp, there is no difference in other treatment. The specific training content for the first 10 days will be in the charge of your respective instructors, and the actual combat monster hunting for the next 20 days will be organized in a unified way. Chen Yaonan spoke loudly, and then announced another rule. The current class is divided according to the ranking. From now on, everyone has 10 challenge opportunities every day. They can challenge the apprentices with high rankings. The success of the challenge is directly exchanged. After Chen Yaonan finished speaking, everyone was discussing. Can you challenge every day? That is to say, the ranking is floating. As long as you win the challenge, you can keep moving forward. 10 chances a day. If you win all of them, you can change classes many times a day. Many people are moved, but there are still very few who really dare to put it into action. Because generally speaking, the ranking of the test is still very accurate, and there is no weak person who can be ranked in the front. Moreover, there is actually no specific benefit to improving the ranking, at most it is fame and class promotion. Therefore, even if the heart is moved, no one will act immediately. On the contrary, many people in Class 2 of Longying looked at Su Mu. There is no doubt that someone is eyeing Su Mu again. Su Mu felt a little helpless. Do you look alike? Isn't it just that Tang Xi's qi and blood value is a little lower, and his realm is a little lower, but the combat power is not there? In Zhongling City, a group of guys just wanted to see their true combat power, and it's still the same here. Su Mu shook her head. She was too lazy to bother. If someone really wanted to challenge her, then just go ahead. And it was necessary to start a battle to stop other people's ideas. Okay, we're all gone, and we all go back to rest. The training camp will officially start tomorrow. Of course, tonight, those who want to challenge can start. Commander-in-Chief Chen Yaonan announced that he would leave soon. It was night. Su Mu did not rest, but closed her eyes and meditated, quietly waiting for those guys from Class 2 to challenge herself. Before the mobilization meeting, those people looked at themselves with wrong eyes, as if they were looking at some treasure. And the one who is most likely to challenge him is the guy from Class 2 of Longying. Needless to say, those in Class 1 have already joined Class 1. Who the hell has nothing to do to challenge themselves? Those 3 people in the key Class 1 rank lower than Su Mu. But Su Mu waited and waited until the night was dark and the surroundings were still quiet, not to mention no one challenged, even if there were no one wandering around. Su Mu wondered, could it be that I guessed wrong? No way. He stood up with a puzzled expression, got it, and said, since they won't come, then I'll take the initiative and personally send them to the door for them to challenge. Su Mu decided that if he didn't solve the challenge, there would be endless troubles for the next month, and this loophole must be plugged as soon as possible. He didn't want to train hard and deal with a bunch of challengers a day. Obviously, anyone who wants to challenge Tianzhao of Longying Class 1 will look for him, because he looks like a soft persimmon, 1 has no background, and 2 has low energy and blood. Soon, he followed the tent number to find number 11, the strongest genius in Class 2 of Longying. He is going to beat up this lucky guy, to make an example to others. But as soon as he got near the tent, Su Mu was stunned, only to hear a somewhat familiar voice from inside. Have you taken it yet? Impressed. I see that you are still not convinced. What do you mean by being vicious? Auntie is ugly. Us. Okay, don't say it, let me remember each one of them clearly. Su Mu is the person I love, and the people my aunt loves. Do you dare to make up your mind? Upon hearing this, Su Mu immediately collapsed, and roared at the top of her throat, Chen Yunxi. Originally thinking of taking the initiative to attack, and taking the initiative to let the students of Class 2 challenge themselves, the first battle started, and Su Mu, who would never suffer from future troubles, was in a bad mood when he arrived at tent. Hearing the familiar voice of Chen Yunxi coming from the tent, why didn't he understand what happened? Chen Yunxi went to him before, and talked a lot. Let Su Mu hang out with her, and she will cover Su Mu from now on. At that time, Su Mu didn't care at all. But I didn't expect that he didn't care, but Chen Yunxi was serious. Tonight, she is covering Su Mu. No, before the mobilization meeting found that the students of Class 2 were staring at Su Mu, Chen Yunxi knew that these guys were trying to trick Su Mu. So taking advantage of the night, she also took the initiative to attack, forcing these guys to challenge herself. In the name of challenge, a group of people were beaten up. Not to mention the beating, but also gathered everyone in Tent 11 to teach them a lesson here. Su Mu immediately became angry. Is he someone who needs care? Especially a little Lolita girl. If it gets out, can he still be a human being? The most important thing is Chen Yunxi's identity. Needless to say, Tianzhao is a beautiful woman, and it goes without saying that she is beautiful. But who is she? She is the daughter of Chen Yaonan, the commander of the 1st Battalion, the general of the Junyao army, and the granddaughter of the ancestor of the Chen family. Su Mu could imagine that if he didn't come tonight, there would definitely be rumors flying all over the sky tomorrow, about Su Mu hooking up with the Chen family, about eating soft food and so on. Su Mu is going to lose face. Su Mu roared, and the sound spread all over the world, let alone Chen Yunxi, who was teaching people inside, was stunned, and even the surrounding student tents heard the movement. A large number of melon-eating students gathered in more than 10 children. And Chen Yunxi also came out of tent number 11, her eyebrows were slightly frowned, because she was not tall, she could only look up at Su Mu when she walked to Su Mu. What are you shouting about? Su Mu laughed angrily. What are you doing? Chen Yunxi held her head high, with a serious face. Protect you. Look, the 10 guys from class 2 have promised that they will never challenge you again. As soon as Chen Yunxi finished speaking, 10 apprentices emerged from the tent, who was a student of the Dragon Camp class. They all had bruised noses and swollen faces. Although they were not seriously injured, they looked very miserable. As soon as the 10 people came out, they all nodded like chickens pecking at rice when they heard Chen Yunxi's words. Yes, guaranteed. Puff. Su Mu wanted to vomit blood. Did everyone who didn't see the onlookers look at him meaningfully? BFBA, apparently they've all started brainstorming. But Chen Yunxi, a nervous little loli, didn't feel it at all. Instead she smiled proudly at Su Mu. Well, I told you before, it's okay to mess with sister. Who dares to mess with you? Sister beat him up for you. Puff. Su Mu really wanted to vomit blood. His face was ashen and roared again. Chen Yunxi, I'm telling you seriously now, Su Mu don't need your protection, nor anyone else's protection. I can handle my affairs by myself, please stay away from me. As soon as Su Mu said this, all the onlookers were dumbfounded. I'm going to talk to Miss Yunxi like that. Does this guy know where this is? This is the largest battalion of the Junyao army, and the commander is Yun Zai's father. Su Mu is really awesome. Someone also said playfully, I don't know the blessings in the blessings. That's right, I can't even ask for protection. Su Mu, just be content. After everyone's voice fell, Su Zheng destroyed the sky. But he was angry, but at the moment Chen Yunxi was even more angry than him. Chen Yunxi was not only angry but also aggrieved, with her mouth pouted, her hips akimbo, and she glared at Su Mu angrily. What did you say? I said, please stay away from me. Su Mu was furious. If Chen Yunxi wasn't a girl, he would want to beat someone up now. Asshole. But Chen Yunxi was also furious. You think I want to control you? If it wasn't for Chen, someone greeted me, I wouldn't bother to care about you. I don't know what's good and what's wrong. It doesn't matter if you don't care. Chen Yunxi lashed out angrily like a cannonball. Looking at it like this, a group of boys are even more envious. This is like a dispute between ordinary students, more like a couple quarreling. Su Mu's head was getting bigger, and with a clang, he directly took out the bleeding gun. Chen Yunxi, I want to challenge you. Now Su Mu really broke down, he just couldn't wash away the fact that he was covered by Chen Yunxi. The most important thing is that even if he explained, no one would believe it. Who can refuse an identity like Chen Yunxi, who is so beautiful, cute, innocent and has a profound background? The most frightening thing is that Chen Yunxi is so nervous that she doesn't know what this means. Su Mu was furious, the only way now was to challenge Chen Yunxi. Not only to win, but also to instantly kill that kind. With an extremely strong posture, he proved that he was far superior to Chen Yunxi, and even far superior to any other student. In this way, everyone naturally shut up. It wasn't him. Su Mu was covered by Chen Yunxi, because there was no need for it. But when Su Mu said this, everyone's eyes widened again, and they were dumbfounded. Challenge Chen Yunxi, that is the third-ranked evil genius. Chen Yunxi, number 3 on the Hidden Dragon ranking, warrior at LV 8, with 86,000 basic HP and 2.4 million combat power. Although Su Mu is also in the top 10 of the Hidden Dragon list, and ranked 7th, his stats are still far behind Chen Yunxi. The difference between the two is very obvious, and the most important thing is that a few days have passed since the test, and Chen Yunxi has already entered the 9th level of tempering. Just like that, Su Mu still dared to challenge. While a group of people eating melons were shocked, they also looked forward to it. This is a contest between Class 1 of Dragon Camp and the top 10 Tianzhao on the Qianlong list, so it must be something to watch. In fact, let alone the melon-eating crowd, even Chen Yunxi himself was taken aback, his face blushed instantly, and he roared angrily. You want to challenge me? I take good care of you with good intentions, you want to challenge me? You think you can beat me? Still think I can't bear to lay hands on you? You just have the heart to attack me. I have to say that the little Lolita Chen Yunxi is a talkative guy, and Su Mu just said one thing, and she came to a bunch of things. But before Su Mu could reply, a figure emerged from the crowd in the next second. Su Mu, if you want to challenge Yunxi, pass my level first. This is a young man dressed in white, holding a folding fan in his hand, walking out while talking, closing the folding fan and looking at Su Mu with a smile, extremely coquettish. It's Xu Junfang. All go, all the geniuses in the class have arrived. Is Xu Junfang, the strongest arrogance of the Xu family's generation? It's him, Xu Junfang, who is ranked 6th on the Qianlong list. It is rumored that he has been pursuing Chen Yunxi. It seems to be true. Everyone was talking about it, and Su Mu naturally heard it too. The person who appeared suddenly was Xu Junfang, who was ahead of him on the Qianlong list. The Xu family is also a big family of the Tang Mansion, and its ancestor is also a general, because of Ding Hai, one of the 5 major armies of the Tang Mansion. Su Mu frowned slightly, and glanced coldly at Xu Junfang. But before he could open his mouth, there was a commotion in the crowd, and then they made way for a path, and 2 more handsome apprentices, a man and a woman, came. Among the 2, the woman has a beautiful face, gentle as water, wearing a white dress, with black and smooth long hair, giving people a feeling like a goddess descending to earth. The man is equally handsome, and looks very similar to the woman, obviously siblings or 2 brothers and sisters. The 2 walked out, and the woman looked directly at the bewildered Chen Yunxi in the field. Yunxi, the top 10 on the Qianlong list, just you and me, your opponent is me, if you want to challenge, you should accept my challenge. 1. Everyone is discussing again. It's 2 top talents again. Sister and brother Wang Muqing and Wang Mufeng, the peerless geniuses of this generation of the Wang family. 4th and 5th on the Qianlong list. It's getting more and more interesting. Only the 1st and 2nd place have not shown up yet. We'll have a good show tonight. Everyone talked about it, and Su Mu also figured out the identity of these 2 people. The man's name is Wang Mufeng, and the woman's name is Wang Muqing. The peerless arrogance of the Wang family's generation. The Wang family is also a big family of the Tang Mansion, and its ancestor is also a general. One of the 5 major legions, the Anman army, is mainly stationed in the northwest catacombs. The siblings are twins. Younger brother Wang Mufeng, 7 forging in 8th stage, 83,000 calories of blood, 2.3 million combat power. Elder sister Wang Muqing, 7 forging in 8th stage, 80,000 cards of vitality and blood, and 2.3 million combat power. The statistics of the siblings are equally astonishing. These 2 people also appeared, and the situation on the scene became even more chaotic. Because Xu Junfang admires Chen Yunxi, he stops Su Mu from making a move. However, Wang Muqing competed with Chen Yunxi for the title of the number 1 female student on the Qianlong list, and wanted to prevent Su Mu from making a move. Su Mu frowned fiercely. He didn't expect that what he thought was simple would be so complicated. He just wanted to start a battle, and then let people stop thinking about his own ideas. But now, the Tianzhao of Class 1, except for the 1st and 2nd 2, the 3rd to the 7th all showed up. There are only 10 people in Class 1 of Longying, here are 5. Su Mu was confused. Chen Yunxi was not like this. She looked at Wang Muqing and her brother in a daze, then rolled her eyes and looked down on Su Mu, but she just ignored Xu Junfang. There was an eerie silence. In addition to the melon-eating crowd watching the theater, Su Mu and other 6 top talents, at this moment, you look at me and I look at you, each with their own thoughts, as if time and space have been frozen for a while. In the next second, Su Mu took a deep breath, turned the spear slightly in his hand, and pointed directly at Xu Junfang. Except, Su Mu is simply too lazy to talk nonsense. How many people? So what if there are more talents? He doesn't care how deep these guys' backgrounds are, he only has one goal now, to solve the immediate trouble immediately. He wants everyone to know that even though he, Su Mu, is from the small city of Donglai. He is definitely not someone to be trifled with. He didn't even have any extra politeness, so he did it directly. Don't you want to stop yourself? Do you think you are weak? What else is there to talk about? Just talk and do it. After solving these so-called top talents, who else would dare to jump out? Who else dares to make irresponsible remarks? This strength is originally that the strong are respected, and all strength is supreme. Boom! In an instant, the terrifying energy and blood on Su Mu's body surged, and before Xu Junfeng could react, Su Mu had already approached him, and the Japanese gun shot out. He didn't even use his strongest rainstorm pear blossom combat skill, which is the sky-shattering shot he used before, which condenses blood and energy into one shot. There is no fancy at all. Of course, if he uses the rainstorm pear blossom combat skill, he can end the battle faster, but it's not necessary. It will be even more deterrent to use violence directly to suppress and solve these so-called top talents with absolute blood strength and absolute strength. Seeing Su Mu rushing towards him, Xu Junfeng's expression changed, and he cursed directly, "Really hit me." Before the words fell, the folding fan in his hand had been unfolded again. It was not a pretentious thing, but a real fan-like weapon in the high-end weapons. When, in the next second, the two collided with each other instantly, and the tip of Su Mu's spear directly hit the fan bone. Xu Junfeng's fan was clearly of a higher grade than Su Mu's bleeding gun, yet there was no damage at all. Seeing this, Xu Junfeng breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, he is still a little worried. Although Su Mu's qi and blood are lower than his, but his combat power is not low. He can be strong, but his brain is not stupid. He doesn't really think that Su Mu is a soft persimmon like others. Are there any idiots who can make it into the top 10 list? Because his combat power is only 100,000 kg higher than Su Mu. But he just breathed a sigh of relief. The next second, he felt a terrifying force attacking on the fan bone instantly. Xu Junfeng's expression changed drastically. Impossible. Before the words fell, Xu Junfeng was instantly lifted by this huge force. Thump thump. Xu Junfeng took a few steps back with great difficulty and stood still. He was about to turn around and fight back, but he saw Su Mu following him like a ghost, coming up to him in an instant. The spear in Su Mu's hand was treated as a stick by him, and he directly threw it at Xu Junfeng. Xu Junfeng's face darkened. "I really think I'm a vegetarian." While speaking, regardless of the pain in his body, he waved his fan again to block it head-on. When there was another loud noise, and a terrifying force struck, Xu Junfeng's face turned pale instantly. Before he could recover, Su Mu shot down again. Immediately afterwards, there were 3 consecutive bangs, bang bang bang. Seeing that Xu Junfeng was originally about the same height as Su Mu, but at this moment, his head only reached Su Mu's waist. Half of his body was smashed directly into the soil, only the half of his body above the waist was exposed, and the soil around his body also had terrifying cracks. Blood was bleeding from the corner of Xu Junfeng's mouth. It was caused by a terrifying force. Xu Junfeng didn't realize it, but looked at Su Mu with a bewildered expression. At this moment, Xu Junfeng's image is extremely miserable. Not only the corners of his mouth are bloody, his hair is disheveled, his white clothes are also in disarray. There is no trace of chic and coquettish before. Even the fan in his hand has long been distorted out of shape, and his right hand holding the fan is actually dripping with blood. Drips of blood can be clearly seen falling from the phalanges. All of these were injured by strong shocks. This shocking effect is what Su Mu wanted. If he really wants to kill, one shot is enough. But the other party is not the enemy of life and death, so there is no need. So for the sake of visual effect, Su Mu chose the most clumsy method, directly bombarding it with huge force, and the result was very obvious. Number 6 on the dignified Qianlong list. Under the terrifying power of Su Mu, let alone fight back, even his weapons were destroyed, and his image was completely lost. All of a sudden, the scene was completely quiet. The scene was completely quiet, even the sound of breathing was suppressed. Everyone's eyes widened, watching this scene in disbelief. The people who eat melons, including Chen Yunxi and Wang's siblings, were all taken aback. Seeing Su Mu attacking directly, they thought that it would be a battle between dragons and tigers, and even the melon eaters were ready to eat melons. But as a result, the battle ended in the blink of an eye, and it ended in an extremely violent aesthetic way. In just one breath, Su Mu fired several shots in a row, and the chic and coquettish Xu Junfeng fell directly to the ground. Boom. A second later, heated discussions erupted at the scene. I'm going, brutal. It's too ruthless. Why did you just knock down the first pride of the Xu family? What kind of ghost power is this? It's so strong. My eardrums hurt from the shock of 223 from such a distance. Su Mu Qianlong is the only one in the top 10 who is not a rich man, but he is so terrifying. While everyone was discussing, a group of top talent came back to their senses. Chen Yunxi swallowed hard, and looked at Su Mu differently. Su Mu is not weak, this was her first thought, no wonder the other party clamored that she didn't need to take care of her. And the Wang siblings also looked at each other, with a look of incomparable horror in their eyes. Of course Xu Junfeng was the most devastated. He thought Su Mu should be on par with him. He overestimated Su Mu and underestimated himself as much as possible. In the end, even when he was killed, he did not expect that the gap between him and Su Mu was so large. At this moment, Su Mu's spear moved slightly, and the point of the spear pointed directly at Xu Junfeng's throat. You still don't admit defeat. Do you really want to die? Su Mu was stunned for so long, just waiting for Xu Junfeng to admit defeat. Others thought they were fighting, but from Su Mu's point of view, it was nothing like fighting. He just wanted Xu Junfeng to admit defeat. What he wanted was shock. Xu Junfeng's face turned dark, and regardless of the injuries on his body, he quickly raised his hand and pressed it on the tip of Su Mu's spear. Brother, you are my big brother, why don't I admit defeat? Su Mu snorted coldly, and retracted the spear. But just as he turned around to deal with the next one, Xu Junfeng behind him looked at the shocked Chen Yunxi in the distance. Yunxi, I quit. I bless you all. In the next second, Su Mu turned around and shot down. Xu Junfeng, who didn't react at all, suddenly had only one head leaking out. Everyone's eyes widened again, but without waiting for anyone to react, Su Mu turned his spear and pointed at the Wang siblings. Anyway, he didn't violate the rules. He challenged 10 times a day, but he was useless once. If that's the case, let's have a good fight. Kill these so-called top talents in front of you. At that time, the world will be clean. As soon as the voice fell, Su Mu had already moved, and the spear went straight to Wang Muqing. Wang Muqing frowned, waved a high-quality long sword in his hand, and a sword flower appeared instantly. The expression of Wang Mufeng, who was right next to Wang Muqing, also changed. They are ranked 4th or 5th, and they are stronger than Xu Junfeng alone, but they will definitely not be able to be like Su Mu, who can easily let Xu Jun become the king with a few shots. Why don't they understand? Su Mu's strength is terrifying. And there is another reason for Wang Mufeng to do it. Su Mu's attack is too dark. His sister Wang Muqing is a girl, and she is a famous Tianzhou beauty. If it ends up like Xu Junfeng, will it be okay? In an instant, Wang Mufeng also moved. The same ancient long sword was used, and the sword flower was the same as Wang Muqing. The two brothers and sisters are originally dragon and phoenix twins. At this moment, the brothers and sisters are of the same heart, and they are displaying the same combat skills. The cooperation is extremely close. The surrounding audience, including Chen Yunxi and Xu Junfeng, who was already miserable but still struggling to get out of the field, all stared wide-eyed. Can it still be like this? Is this a joint combat technique? Both of them have more than 2 million battle strengths each, but together they have more than 3 million. Everyone was stunned by this scene. As soon as the Wang sister and brother made a move, everyone understood that the strength of these two was not just as simple as the data on the Qianlong list. The stats on the Hidden Dragon ranking are their own stats, but the siblings can work together, and under the joint attack, their combat power increases dramatically. This is probably not too much to meet the first-place Zhou Han. In the next second, the two sides approached in an instant, and Su Mu's spear suddenly moved, turning a stab into a sweep. Dang dang. In an instant, the body of the gun swept across the long swords of the siblings. As the terrifying power dispersed, the expressions of the Wang siblings changed at the same time, and they backed away at the same time. The spear in Su Mu's hand moved again, pointing directly at the Wang siblings. But in the next second, Wang Muqing's face darkened. We admit defeat. Wow. In an instant, there was another thunderous uproar at the scene. Give up. Just throw in the towel. Even though it was obvious that the two joined forces and were still repelled, the two were not really irresistible. Everyone is dumbfounded, but only the siblings know how much they have endured just now. At this moment, both siblings were filled with chi and blood surging in their bodies, as if one could not bear it and was about to vomit blood on the spot. Just kidding, Su Emu's blood is not tens of thousands, but hundreds of thousands, and his combat power is not only millions but tens of millions. He dealt with these so-called top talents like playing games. Before dealing with Xu Junfang, he only controlled his strength for the sake of visual effect. Now when dealing with the siblings, even though they have controlled their power, they are much stronger than dealing with Xu Junfang. How could the two of them resist? They understood with just one move that they were not Su Emu's opponents. If so, why fight? Want to be beaten to the ground like Xu Junfang? While everyone was puzzled, the Wang siblings turned around and left. Before leaving, Wang Mukching looked at Chen Yunxi again. Su Mu is very strong. My goal has changed, not you, nor Zhou Han, Fang Junyan, but Su Mu. Finally, Wang Mukching looked at Su Mu, as if to remember him. Su Mu, I will definitely surpass you. Immediately afterwards, the two siblings left in the blink of an eye, and did not stop at all. The siblings left, but Su Mu didn't care at all. He moved the spear slightly in his hand, turned his direction again, and looked at Chen Yunxi. Chen Yunxi's expression sank immediately. Su Mu, do you really want to challenge me? At this moment, she actually felt a little guilty. Yes, she is ranked third, but in fact she is still far behind the first and second, and she is not much better than the fourth and fifth Wang siblings. Neither the Wang siblings are Su Emu's opponents, so how can she be Su Emu's opponents? Su Emu's face was cold. Either fight or admit defeat. I said, I don't need your attention, please stay away from me. Chen Yunxi was ashamed and angry. Her face was blushing, but she suddenly took out her weapon in her hands, the double hammers that didn't fit her image. The next second she roared angrily. Su Mu, you are too much. After the words fell, Chen Yunxi went straight to Su Mu with overwhelming anger. Chen Yunxi, despite her frail body and small stature, her energy and blood scatter in the blink of an eye, and the terrifying power actually caused a loud noise. Seeing that he was approaching Su Mu, but in the next second, Su Emu's figure disappeared in an instant. Immediately afterwards, Chen Yunxi only felt a chill in his throat. Chen Yunxi's body froze, and she looked down in disbelief. She didn't know when Su Emu's spear point had reached her throat, and if she advanced an inch, she would be killed. You lose. Su Mu snorted coldly. He had achieved his goal. In a short period of time, he had successively defeated Xu Junfang, the Wang siblings, and Chen Yunxi. In Class 1 of Longying, except for the first and second who did not show up, the rest of the third to sixth were all picked out by him at once. But when Su Mu made a sound, Chen Yunxi's body was trembling unceasingly. It was because of being so angry. She really couldn't figure it out, and she kindly agreed to her uncle to take care of Su Mu, and ran out to solve Su Emu's troubles without practicing or resting at night. As a result, Su Mu didn't appreciate it and treated her like this. Now, with so many people looking at her, she lost all face as the third on the hidden dragon list. At any rate, Xu Junfang still struggled a little bit. At least the Wang siblings managed to make a move. But when it came to her, she didn't even have a chance to use trick 15, and she was instantly killed. Woo! Wow! In an instant, Chen Yunxi burst into tears, turned around and ran away. Chen Yunxi went away, and her crying but extremely angry voice came from afar. Su Mu, I hate you. At this moment, all the onlookers were surprised and looked at Su Mu with strange expressions. Su Mu blushed suddenly, and thought to herself, I didn't do anything wrong, did I? Su Mu shook his head. He didn't think he did anything wrong. Everyone feels that he is a soft persimmon. He just wants to prove himself, wants to be clean, and doesn't want to be disturbed by others. But the final result was indeed achieved. Except for the first and second two who didn't show up, I'm afraid no one would dare to challenge him anymore. Among the crowd, the 10 students from Class 2 of Longying were also very happy at this moment. Fortunately, they were taught a lesson by Chen Yunxi. If they really find Su Mu, they will be even worse. For a moment, everyone at the scene looked at Su Mu in shock. What a strong strength. There must be something wrong with the data on the Qianlong list. Maid, are the people from the small place so scary now? Pervert, this strength is only ranked 7th. How does he compare with the first Johan and the second Fang Junyan? While everyone was discussing, Su Mu shook her head and turned to leave. Now that the matter is over, we can always live in peace next time, right? He came to the training camp just to become stronger, he really didn't want to be famous. But obviously, he doesn't want to be famous, and some people want to force him to be famous. Su Mu is gone, and the night is getting dark. This night, because of the contest between the top Tianzhao who just participated in the training camp, many people are destined to have no sleep. Soon, almost all the students knew it. Su Mu, who comes from a small place called Donghae City, Gangneung Province, has amazing strength. Consecutively defeated Chen Yunxi, Wang Mufeng, Wang Muqing and Xu Junfang, 4 top talents. And it is a strong defeat. Chen Yunxi missed one move, and was directly killed by a gun pointed at his throat. The Wang siblings, working together, still conceded defeat. Xu Junfang, who thought he could compete with Su Mu and even have a slight upper hand, ended up being the most miserable. He was directly knocked out of the dust and dug into the soil. Not to mention his image was completely destroyed, and his handy fan was also useless. When the news spread, the entire camp was in an uproar. Almost overnight, all the students knew the name Su Mu. This is a terrifying evildoer, who has fought several times, and strongly repelled the evildoer who is at the top of the ranking. The only thing that is still unknown is who is stronger, Su Mu and the first and second monsters. In Class 1 of the Leopard Camp, Zhang Hua, who was originally assigned to the Tiger Camp, had a bruised nose and a swollen face. Several students from Zhongling Province gathered in his tent. Among them was Qin Yu, who was ranked 3rd in Zhongling Province, and was assigned to the Leopard Camp, and now his nose is bruised and his face is swollen. The others were also bruised and swollen, extremely miserable. Immediately afterwards, other students from Zhongling came to gather here one after another. Without exception, all of them had bruised noses and swollen faces. They were cared for by their elders in Zhongling City before, but now they describe it as miserable. Just tonight, they were also challenged. Strangely, all of them lost. Even though those who challenged them were ranked behind them on the list and were weaker than them, they still lost. What Yun Junsho said is correct. Hua and the others are really flowers in the greenhouse, and they have a whole body of fighting power, but they can't exert it at all. It's showing up now. They are being bullied. Zhang Hua was originally assigned to the 10th class of the Tiger Camp, which was second only to the Dragon Camp. However, he was challenged continuously and fell all the way to the Leopard Camp. The same was true for the others. Qin Yu's battalion fell to the battalion. Other apprentices even fell directly to Class 13 and Class 12 of the worst Snake Camp. There is no way to fall, and he has become the group of people who are most likely to be eliminated. They got together to discuss how to deal with other people's challenges, but now everyone is staring at each other because they didn't discuss anything. Because they also got the news. Just now, Su Mu's name resounded throughout the camp. Su Mu challenged Tianzhao ranked 3rd to 6th consecutively, and defeated them strongly. Today's Su Mu ranks 3rd, second only to the 2 mysterious strongest talents. After a long time, Zhang Hua was the first to speak. Everyone, what do you think? Qin Yu rubbed his injured arm with resentment all over his face. Let's find Su Mu, no matter how he comes from Zhongling. That's right, the guardian also told him to take care of us. Ask him for help. Will he help? Don't forget, a group of us besieged him in Zhongling. They urgently need a backer now, otherwise they will be challenged all day long, and they will not even have a chance to practice, so how can they train together? If this continues, they are worried that they will be eliminated. In the end, Zhang Hua took a deep breath. I'll go find him tomorrow, let's go. But before everyone could answer, a voice sounded from outside the tent door. Is Brother Zhang Hua here? Hearing this voice, Zhang Hua trembled. This was the first guy to challenge him, and he was so powerful that he lost without even reacting. But before he could make a sound, the other party opened the door curtain and walked in, bowing his hands to everyone. It's all there. I'm here to apologize. The previous challenge was just for ranking. Brother Zhang, don't blame me, this is my little thought, please accept it. As he spoke, the man left behind a pill, bowed his hand politely again, and then withdrew. In an instant, Zhang Hua and the others were all stunned. The person who hit them actually came to apologize. But before he recovered his senses, the second person came again. Ha ha ha, Brother Zhang, I offended you so much before. Tell Su Mu that I have no hostility towards Zhang Ling. Even Brother Zhang can challenge me if he wants. I admit defeat, that's right. Then, the third, fourth, and several geniuses who challenged him all came to apologize. At this moment, why don't they understand that these guys are not admitting to them, but to Su Mu? Su Mu beat Xu Junfeng like that, they are also scared. Su Mu is the real werewolf. The number 3 tent in Squad 1 of Longying Army, the camp of the Junyao Army, was the tent where Chen Yunxi lived. According to the rules set by the commander, that is, Chen Yunxi's father, the weak challenge the strong, and after the victory, the rankings would be exchanged directly, but it did not say that the place of residence needed to be exchanged. Of course, the exchange cannot be exchanged. For example, Chen Yunxi, she has lost to Su Mu now, but if she wants to give up the tent she lives in, she has to fight Su Mu desperately. This is not to say that the tent she lived in was very good, but that the tent was arranged very warmly by her. All kinds of pink decorations that girls like, plus a large number of plush pet toys that almost fill the entire tent. Chen Yunxi was only 16 years old, younger than most of the people who participated in the test this year. It is normal that she still has a girlish heart, and it is normal that she does not understand the reason for Su Mu's anger. But at this moment, she was angry and even more aggrieved. Sitting alone on the bed with her legs hugged, Chen Yunxi couldn't stop sobbing. She was so wrong. Obviously I am going to take care of Su Mu. Why Su Mu doesn't appreciate it? It's fine if you don't appreciate it, it's a big deal for her to ignore Su Mu. But she didn't expect that Su Mu would actually beat her up. In front of so many people, killing her instantly would not save her any face. She's a girl, she's a beautiful woman, and she doesn't want to lose face. Su Mu, you fool, I hate you, I'm going to kill you. Chen Yunxi ruthlessly hammered a plush toy beside her with her fist, venting her anger and grievance. What broke her down the most was that she had promised her father and uncle to take care of Su Mu just before. She was also serious, and she went to find Su Mu seriously, so that he didn't have to worry, and let him hang out with her. Then at night, I went to help Su Mu solve the trouble. At this moment, thinking about it made her feel broken. What is she doing? Do something and be humiliated. Even if she hammered the plush toy beside her, her grievance and anger still could not be resolved. She needs to find someone to resolve. But there was no good friend of hers in the whole training camp. Wang Mukching was obviously impossible to become her friend, and she didn't have the face to complain to others. Then who else can I find? Looking for my dad. Come on, my dad will help me. It's not bad if he doesn't laugh. Finally, the red-eyed Yunxi picked up the communicator and dialed a number. The other end is naturally Chen Xuan, her uncle. Chen Xuan, who was working overtime in Donghai City to handle official business, immediately frowned when he saw that the communication was from Chen Yunxi. Could it be that Su Mu was bullied? Even Yunxi can't solve it. I just went here, which families is it? Cursing angrily, Chen Xuan connected the communication. Yunxi, is someone bullying Su Mu? Even you can't solve it, can you? It's okay, wait, I'll just. On the other end of the communicator, upon hearing Chen Xuanhei's call, Chen Yunxi collapsed even more, and roared angrily. Su Mu, can you not mention this fool? In an instant, Chen Xuan froze in place. Yunxi, what happened? Wu, Chen Yunxi burst into tears immediately. After letting Chen Xuan listen to the crying and cursing for a long time, Chen Lair briefly explained what happened. It doesn't matter if you don't listen, Chen Xuanhei's eyes widened immediately. Ah, you said you were beaten by Su Mu. Chen Xuan couldn't believe it at all. Okay. If Su Mu can beat the third-ranked Chen Yunxi, will he still entrust Chen Yunxi to take care of Su Mu? But is it necessary for Chen Yunxi to lie to him? Impossible. What's more, he is Chen Yunxi's uncle and knows Chen Yunxi very well. Regardless of her young age, this girl is very strong. If she hadn't been bullied miserably, she wouldn't have come to complain to herself. I heard Chen Yunxi's tearful cry just now, it's not fake at all. Chen Xuan was completely dumbfounded. He was also thinking that something happened to Su Mu, and he was worried that Su Mu would be bullied there, so he didn't hesitate to let his niece take care of Su Mu. It turned out to be a good thing. This Su Mu actually beat up his niece. This fool, dared to beat my eldest niece. Chen Xuan cursed angrily. He scolded Chen Yunxi angrily, driving even more sadly. He's a jerk. Yes, Yunxi, don't be angry, I will see him another day, and I will definitely beat him up to vent your anger. Chen Xuan quickly comforted him. But Chen Yunxi said angrily, no, don't worry about it, I will beat him back myself, I still don't believe it, my dignified Miss Chen family can't deal with him anymore. That's right, Yunxi, uncle believes in you, you can do it. At the same time, in the dark night outside Chen Yunxi's tent, two pairs of bright eyes were revealed, looking at the tent where Chen Yunxi was. Master, do you really care about Miss? No matter what, if she is not allowed to be beaten by the society, how can she grow up? But Miss is crying so bitterly that I'm afraid. What are you afraid of? Is she hurt? That's not true. This is the end. Don't talk about her, let her go, talk about Su Mu. Su Mu. Marshal, how about I go and clean him up? Fart, who told you to deal with him? I'm asking you, what do you think of this Su Mu? The two who whispered were none other than Chen Yaonan, the commander of the 1st Battalion of the Demon Suppressing Army, who was Chen Yunxi's old district. The other person is his deputy. Hearing Chen Yaonan's question, the assistant froze for a moment. Su Mu is such a black-hearted guy, he can even take care of our young lady. Chen Yaonan stared. I asked you to evaluate objectively, and I didn't make you hostile. The deputy smiled awkwardly. Well, I can't see through this guy, but it's obvious that Tang Xi is hiding his strength, otherwise how could he be so strong? Chen Yaonan nodded slightly. Judging from the information we have now, do you think it is possible that he is really a disciple of King Tang? Possible. The deputy nodded abruptly. Apart from this explanation, what else can explain that Su Mu, a guy from a small town in Donglai, is so evil? Chen Yaonan shook his head, didn't bother with this issue anymore, he took a deep breath, it's good. This year's apprentices are a little bit interesting. There has been such a big mess just now. Now it seems that no one except those two guys can control this Su Mu. The deputy also echoed. Indeed, the Wang family siblings are not rivals together. You run to tell Zhou Han and Fang Junyan Su Mu's situation, and add fire to them. Chen Yaonan grinned badly and was handsome. Yes. The deputy took the order, and soon disappeared into the darkness. And Chen Yaonan once again looked at the tent where his daughter was, and shook his head helplessly. Su Mu Yanyan said that this kid will surprise me, it's really a surprise, Chen Yaonan snorted coldly. He promised Yan Yun, let Chen Yunxi take care of Su Mu, now it's all right, because Mu's fool even beat his daughter. Immediately afterwards, Chen Yaonan raised his eyebrows, with a smirk on his face. Training officially starts tomorrow, brat, I want you to know the fate of bullying my daughter Chen Yaonan. In front of his subordinates, Chen Yaonan kept saying that he could not seek revenge on Su Mu. But he was still upset in his heart, he couldn't swallow this breath if he didn't clean up Su Mu. Of course, he is a dignified and strong martial artist, and he is not so narrow-minded. The reason why he took care of Su Mu is because he is curious about how strong Su Mu is. Early the next morning, all the students who participated in the training camp received a message. The Tang Mansion Qianlong list has been updated. The first and second place have not changed, but the third place has become Su Mu. The third place, Su Mu, unknown realm, unknown basic blood, unknown combat power. Immediately behind were Chen Yunxi, the Wang siblings, and Xu Junfeng. The ranking has changed, and Su Mu's information has also changed. What was the first stage before? 58,000 calories of blood, and 2 million combat power, all became unknown. Su Mu is still in the first stage. His vitality is only 58,000 calories. His combat power is only 2 million. After what happened last night, I can't even believe it. But even if Su Mu defeated the 4 Tianzhao in a row last night, he still couldn't accurately give his specific realm and strength. Therefore, after the list was updated, Su Mu became the only apprentice whose data was unknown. Of course, the changes in the list are not limited to Su Mu and others, but a large-scale update. Last night, many people took up the challenge, and various statistics and rankings were updated in due course. Today, the Datang Martial Mansion training camp officially begins. Early in the morning, many students rushed to the class where was. In Squad 1 of Longying, Su Mu also rushed to the designated place early, which was just outside the large tent of the Chinese army. There are no dedicated classrooms here. Immediately afterwards, the Wang siblings came and nodded politely when they saw Su Mu. Then there was Xu Junfang, and there were 3 people behind him, so he was naturally assigned to the 8th to 10th place in Class 1 of Longying. Su Mu also knew the information of these 3 people, even the 10th Huang Yanyuan, although his status and background were not as prominent as the previous Wang family, Chen family, and Xu family. But they all come from Tang Dynasty City, and they are also the pride of large families. And his own strength is not weak. Huang Yanyuan, the 10th place, 7 forged and 7 heavy, 74,000 calories of blood, more than 1.9 million combat power, close to 2 million. There is no weak person who can enter the top 10 of the Hidden Dragon list. When Xu Junfang and the others arrived, they immediately looked at Su Mu. Xu Junfang once again returned to his coquettish attire, and even replaced the damaged fan with a new one overnight. Seeing Su Mu, Xu Junfang grinned. "Good morning, Brother Su." Su Mu nodded lightly. Then, the other 3 also nodded to Su Mu. Su Mu is now a celebrity, and her strength is extremely terrifying. These 3 people were also at the scene at the time, but they didn't dare to say anything. Su Mu is very satisfied with the effect, at least it proves that last night's efforts were not wasted. Everyone is polite and peaceful, isn't that good? After a while, Chen Yunxi came with her father. From a long distance away, Chen Yaonan looked at Su Mu playfully and raised his eyebrows. But Chen Yunxi turned her head away, unwilling to look at Su Mu. Su Mu didn't care either. Soon, Chen Yaonan walked to the center of the crowd. He is the instructor of Longying Class 1 and is responsible for teaching these 10 students. Okay, everyone is here, let me say a few things. Just as Chen Yaonan opened his mouth, Xu Junfang frowned. "Master, there are still 2 people left." Interrupted by Xu Junfang, Chen Yaonan glared at Xu Junfang unhappily. "From now on, I'll stop talking." "Yes." Xu Junfang's face darkened, and he hurriedly confessed. Speaking of it, his father and Chen Yaonan were old acquaintances, but Chen Yaonan didn't give him any face at all. Xu Junfang could only retreat to the back of the crowd in embarrassment. Only then did Chen Yaonan continue. "You don't need to call me master in the future. Although you are managed according to military warriors and count military merits, in general, you are not the ones in my demon army. From now on, call me instructor." Hearing this, everyone responded one after another, "Hello, Instructor Chen." Chen Yaonan nodded in satisfaction. "Let me answer Xu Junfang's question just now. Longying Class 1 has 10 people. 8 people are here now, and the other 2 are Johan and Fang Junyan. You don't have to wait for them. These 2 have completed physical training and are preparing to break through to the martial artist realm. The 2 of them will not participate in the training camp for the first 10 days. They should work hard to hunt monsters in the wild and seek opportunities for breakthroughs." As soon as these words came out, the 8 students on the scene fell silent. There is no harm without comparison. They are also Tianzhao and evildoers, and they are also in the same class, but the 2 of them are already ready to break through. They are all ready BF to condense blood and break through the martial artist realm, so naturally they don't need to participate in the training for the martial artist stage. Seeing everyone lowered their heads in thought, Chen Yaonan nodded in satisfaction. "You only have 10 days to train. Most of you are above the 7th level, except Su Mu of course." Hearing this, Su Mu's face darkened, and she didn't refute. He really hasn't reached the 7th level, he is now a warrior in the 6th level. And the 6th level has not yet been completed. He broke through 5 small realms in the East China Sea Qi and Blood Secret Realm before, which is already very terrifying. But in terms of realm, he is still no match for these monsters. Even Huang Yanyuan, the 10th weakest, is at the 7th level. Chen Yaonan continued. "For these 10 days, you have only one task: practice, practice, and practice again. Target: after 10 days, everyone will break through to the martial master realm." Swish. As soon as these words came out, everyone raised their heads, even Chen Yunxi. In 10 days, to break through to the martial master realm. Even the three of Chen Yunxi and Wang's siblings are already at the 8th level, but they are still far away from being a martial artist. This is not to mention the other 7th layer realms, and Su Mu, a guy who doesn't know what realm he is. It can be seen from the eyes of everyone. Chen Yaonan smiled. What? Do you find it difficult? A group of people didn't dare to say anything, but Chen Yunxi nodded directly. It's not difficult, it's impossible. Chen Yunxi is Chen Yaonan's precious daughter. She dared to speak, but she also spoke everyone's heart. Of course, Su Mu is not included. Su Mu is only worried about the lack of resources, not at all that she can't break through. Chen Yaonan smiled and his eyes turned cold. Do you think it's impossible? The same hands and feet, Johan and Fang Junyan will do. 10 days, don't you even have the courage to break through 1 or 2 small realms? Everyone's face turned black. Is that 1 or 2 small realms? Breaking through from the 9 layers of warriors to warriors, this is a big block, and many people are stuck here for a long time and cannot break through. Even if the students in Class 1 of Longying or Tianzhou and evildoers, it will take time to successfully break through this hurdle. But Chen Yaonan didn't care about these, and continued. Anyone who thinks it's impossible can quit now. Hearing this, Chen Yunxi shut up. Chen Yaonan snorted coldly. You consider yourself to be a genius and evildoer, but you can't even do this. You can't even break through to the martial master realm. How dare you call yourself a monster? You don't even have the courage to think about revenge. The last sentence is naturally for a few people except Su Mu. Aren't these guys all beaten up by Su Mu last night? You don't want revenge. Don't want to beat Su Mu down too. Chen Yaonan smiled playfully. Needless to say, this stimulus really has some effect. Chen Yunxi glanced at Su Mu angrily, gritted her teeth secretly. The same is true for other people. As if they were brainwashed by Chen Yaonan, they now firmly believe that they can really break through. Okay, I hope everyone can enter the Great Tang Martial Palace as a martial artist, otherwise what's the point of this special training class? What Chen Yaonan said was true. Then, he began to talk about the next training plan. These 10 days, I plan to divide them into 4 stages. Chen Yaonan continued. 1 day in the first stage, that is, today, I call it bathing and changing clothes. On this day, all kinds of resources are open to use, as much as you can use, as much as you can improve. As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes lit up. Su Mu looked up at Chen Yaonan excitedly. Instructor, is what you said true? Su Mu has longed for resource freedom for a long time. What worries him the most is resources. If he has resources, he doesn't even want to go to Datang Wufu. Doesn't he watch him silently become stronger at home? What, can I still lie to you? Chen Yaonan stared, then continued. The second stage, from the 2nd day to the 4th day, I will take you to the sauna. The 3rd stage, from the 5th day to the 7th day, I will take you to catch monsters. The 4th stage, the 8th day to the 10th day, I call it Friendship Day. Chen Yaonan said a lot of inexplicable things, about sauna, about catching monsters, and the last Friendship Day. No matter how everyone heard it, they felt weird. It was obviously not a good thing, but Chen Yaonan still didn't explain. I'll talk about the specific content later, don't ask, and don't tell me if you ask. In the end, it is the rules of our class, that is, there are no rules. Chen Yaonan grinned. Next, there is one last thing, choose a squad leader. After Chen Yaonan finished speaking, he looked at Su Mu playfully again. Is anyone willing to take the initiative to be the monitor? It will be beneficial. Everyone noticed that Chen Yaonan was obviously speaking to Su Mu. But Su Mu just wasn't fooled, as if she hadn't heard it. Chen Yaonan didn't care either. No one wants to. That's fine, then I will appoint. Then Su Mu will do it. Su Mu's face turned dark, and she suddenly had a bad feeling. After arranging these, Chen Yaonan grinned. Next, the training camp officially begins. Today, take a shower and change clothes. As he spoke, Chen Yaonan took the lead and walked towards the rear of the camp. While walking, Chen Yaonan introduced. Today's bathing and changing clothes is very interesting, for today, we have spent a lot of money. As he said that, Chen Yaonan also showed his incomparable wishes. You are really blessed, all resources are unlimited. Hearing this before, Su Mu was still excited, but now, no matter how he thinks about it, there must be something wrong. Soon, everyone could smell a strong smell of blood as they walked. A group of people frowned, the smell of blood was too strong. Immediately afterwards, a group of people followed Chen Yaonan around a corner and came to a platform. As soon as they arrived here, a group of people stared wide-eyed. On the platform, at this moment, there is a group of warriors slaughtering monsters with butcher knives. With the knife raised and lowered, the screams of monster beasts float out along with the blood. There are 3 large pools in the center of the platform, which are full of blood. A group of people are confused. Combined with what Chen Yaonan just said about changing clothes after taking a bath, some people even couldn't help retching. "Father, you don't want us to eat this stuff, do you?" Chen Yunxi endured the nausea, but her face turned green. This is the blood of a monster, and it has not undergone any treatment. But Chen Yaonan stared at him. "Call the instructor." There are no fathers and daughters on the battlefield. Chen Yunxi stepped aside angrily, and Chen Yaonan continued. "It's not for you to eat. This is the first step, called bathing and changing clothes." When they heard that it was not for food, everyone was relieved, but in the next second, their eyes widened again. Take a bath and change clothes, bathe with monster blood. It is the monster blood that contains a lot of qi and blood energy, but it is not so easy to absorb, and it is obviously not ordinary monster blood, but specially selected. Haven't you seen that from a long distance, everyone can see that the blood in the pool is actually boiling? This is the blood of the fire wolf demon. Chen Yaonan continued. As soon as these words came out, the eyes of everyone at the scene widened again. Obviously, many people also knew about this kind of monster. Chen Yunxi muttered with a dark face. "The blood of the fire wolf demon is extremely poisonous. You want us to use this to take a bath? Your father, can I still harm you?" Chen Yaonan rolled his eyes in dissatisfaction, and continued to explain. "The blood of the fire wolf demon is indeed poisonous, and it is extremely poisonous. Let alone ingesting it, even a little bit of it can burn and corrode. But I'm afraid you don't know that the fire wolf demon's blood is poisonous, but it also has a miraculous effect. This miraculous effect is that its blood can directly enter the body through the pores and skin, and it has the effect of assisting in quenching the body. As long as you master the speed well, this is a very effective way to increase the speed of body quenching. Even if you are really poisoned, it doesn't matter, the military doctor is right by, as long as the poisonous gas doesn't attack your heart, you can still be saved. The blood of the fire wolf demon is so precious, you should cherish it." After saying this, the faces of a group of people turned green. Even Su Mu is the same. This is not cultivation, it is risking one's life. And Chen Yaonan said that the resources are unlimited, so this is what he is talking about. Of course, no one dared to deny that the fire wolf demon's blood was indeed very precious, and even many elixirs needed to add this kind of blood as a medicine. And what Chen Yaonan said was right, if he could really ignore the toxicity of the fire wolf demon's blood, this is a rare and good thing to temper the body. While everyone was confused, Chen Yaonan looked at Su Mu again. "Su Mu, as the class monitor, you come first and show everyone." Su Mu woke up suddenly, dared to wait for her here. Before he could refuse, Chen Yaonan reached out and grabbed. But what made Chen Yaonan dumbfounded was that he missed it. With a plop, Su Mu jumped directly into the first pool. As soon as I entered, Su Mu swears directly, jumping up and down in the pool. What the hell is this blood of a monster? Sour. Hold it, you are the class monitor, you have to set an example for everyone. Chen Yaonan raised his eyebrows proudly. But he was counting down in his heart, 100 days, 5009-98. 100 meters later, the countdown reached 0 in an instant, and he came directly to the top of Su Mu in a flash. He was about to fish Su Mu out, but he was suddenly stunned. At this moment, Su Mu's skin was red all over, which was corroded by the blood of the fire wolf demon. But strangely, his skin showed no signs of ulceration. 100 seconds, this is Chen Yaonan's insistence time. As a result, Su Mu was not only fine, but now he got used to it, stopped jumping, and started to enjoy it instead. Don't say it, it really works. Su Mu raised her eyebrows triumphantly, now it was Chen Yaonan's turn to be dumbfounded. Not only that, a progress bar appeared in front of Su Mu at this moment. 5 internal organs tempering progress, 791%. Su Mu frowned slightly, and silently clicked fast forward. This is a rare and good thing. Wouldn't it be a pity for Chen Yaonin's painstaking effort not to refine it? Just now, Su Mu heard from the crowd that the blood of the fire-breaking wolf demon is worth millions of dollars per caddy. And this is the first pool, which is just the blood of the fire wolf demon that is equivalent to the human warrior realm, and there is a second pool behind it, which is equivalent to the warrior realm, and the third pool is equivalent to the military commander realm. Su Mu decided, Chen is so nice to him, he can't waste the time. Su Mu almost shouted, "Don't come down, it's all mine." What is the point of pain when he first came in? As long as he can improve, he can still bear this pain. And Chen Yaonin's expression became more and more strange. He was suspended above Su Mu's head, ready to go out to catch someone at any time, and he was secretly counting seconds in his heart. But now, another minute has passed, and Su Mu really started to close her eyes and soak in the pool, enjoying it. Maid, what kind of monster is this guy? Chen Yaonin cursed directly. Chen Yaonin was dumbfounded. He wanted to clean up Su Mu, so he deliberately made Su Mu the squad leader and let Su Mu go down first. As a result, Su Mu jumped down by herself, but just jumped a few times at first, and now there is no movement at all. If he couldn't feel Su Mu's breathing, and feel the continuous surge of Su Mu's blood, he would have thought that Su Mu was dead. Monster, evildoer, Chen Yaonin kept complaining. Although this is just the blood of the fire wolf demon from the martial artist realm, its toxicity is also very violent. Su Mu actually had nothing to do with it, it was just that her skin was red. While complaining, he was also shocked. Is Jujuan really that strong? Obviously, Su Mu was able to resist because of the number of times his body was tempered. 9 tempering, it is really extraordinary, it is almost invulnerable to all poisons. At this moment, the other students also stared wide-eyed, watching this scene in shock. Su Mu is fine. Could it be that the blood toxicity of the fire wolf demon is actually not that strong? Why are you still standing there? Get down. At this moment, Chen Yaonin snorted angrily. But everyone still hesitated, they just walked to the edge of the blood pool to try it out. Chen Yaonin originally wanted to deal with Su Mu, but he failed at 15, and now he is upset. Seeing everyone acting like this, he immediately became angry, and he appeared directly behind Xu Junfeng in a flash, raised his foot and kicked it down. Ah, it hurts. In the next second, Xu Junfeng cried and yelled, and jumped 3 feet high in the pool. Immediately afterwards, Chen Yaonin was about to lift his foot to kick someone, and seeing this, the others had no choice but to bite the bullet and jump down. Then a strange and funny scene appeared. A group of students kept jumping in the blood pool, but someone wanted to jump out to meet him, but it was Chen Yaonin's critical attack. Soon, a minute passed. 6 5 4 3 2 1. Come out now. Chen Yaonin was counting down, and as soon as the word came out, Xu Junfeng was the first to jump out, followed by several others. At this moment, looking at them again, they are all covered in blood, some of the blood of the fire wolf demon, and some of their own. Including Chen Yunxi and Wang's siblings, they were all corroded until their skin festered and bled. But Chen Yaonin didn't have any compassion at all. He waved his hand, "Go to the military doctor for treatment, I only give you 10 minutes. Everyone's faces turned black, but they could only follow suit. But Chen Yaonin's mind was not on the other students at all at the moment, but on Su Mu. Su Mu has been here for how long? She is still enjoying herself. Ahem, I really can't bear to say it, it's not ashamed to admit it. Chen Yaonin said. Hearing the sound, Su Mu opened her eyes and shook her head directly. No, I'm fine, instructor, can you stop staring at me and take care of other people, I know what I know. Chen Yaonin rolled his eyes speechlessly, then turned around directly, be careful. The words were very calm, but Chen Yaonin's mind was filled with monstrous waves. Monster. This is the monster, Chen Yaonin muttered silently. Obviously, Su Mu is really fine, the blood of the fire wolf demon in the warrior realm didn't do much harm to him. And as Chen Yaonin left, Su Mu's heart moved, and he immediately increased the fast-forward multiple. Just now he was afraid that Chen Yaonin would find something unusual, but he didn't dare to fast-forward too much. Now the opportunity came. Chen Yaonin went to see everyone's injuries. What are Su Mu waiting for? In an instant, his fast-forward multiplier instantly increased to 32,000 times. At this point, Su Mu didn't dare to continue to click, and Chen Yaonan didn't go too far, so he couldn't let him discover the abnormality. Boom boom boom. Su Mu could only feel the constant roaring in his body. His 5 internal organs were being tempered rapidly, and the progress reached 800% in the blink of an eye. The 8th tempering of the 5 internal organs is complete. Not long after, the 9th time was also completed. The progress bar has changed. The progress of refining the 6 internal organs, 0.00001%. The blood on Su Mu's body couldn't hide the shock. He broke through. The warrior has completed the 6th stage and stepped into the 7th stage. At this moment, Chen Yaonan, who was still inspecting Chen Yunxi's injuries, turned his head in an instant, and looked at Su Mu with an incredulous expression on his face. This is a breakthrough. The 6th level of the warrior has been completed. Oh, now it is the 7th level of the warrior. Hearing Chen Yaonan's words, a group of students looked at Su Mu one after another. Although no one said anything, everyone had the same idea. Monsters, real monsters. Not only can Su Mu resist the blood toxicity of the fire wolf demon, but he even breaks through a small realm in a short period of time. 7th level. Su Mu is now a warrior at the 7th level. At this moment, everyone knows the specific realm of Su Mu. And Su Mu, after breaking through, finally stood up. But at the same time that everyone was stunned, Chen Yaonan immediately suppressed the shock in his heart, and turned his head to stare at everyone. Still in a daze. Do you really think that the energy in that pool is infinite? This pool is the blood of the fire wolf demon, not the blood energy, which is different from what Su Mu soaked in the secret realm before. Since it is blood, the main content is naturally ordinary blood, and the energy of qi in blood is still a small amount after all. The next second, a group of students came back to their senses, and regardless of their injuries, they immediately stood up and rushed to the edge of the pool, gritting their teeth and jumped down one by one. It is very uncomfortable to soak in the blood of the fire wolf demon, even as terrible as death. But they are all arrogant and evildoers, and they never think that they are weaker than others. Especially Su Mu has broken through a small realm. How can they be worse than Su Mu? All of them were grinning from the poison of the fire wolf demon's blood in the pool, but at this moment, even Xu Junfeng was holding on to keep silent, just to become stronger, just to not be compared by Su Mu. They also competed with Su Mu. But at this moment, Su Mu grinned. It seems to be gone. Suddenly, the group of people were all stunned. Chen Yaonan's face turned dark, and he came to the pool in a flash, stretched out his hand, and his face suddenly turned from black to purple. This is angry. This pool of monster blood was obtained from the fire wolf monster that he arranged for his subordinates to catch for a long time, and it turned out to be cheaper for Su Mu alone. But the most irritating thing is that he still can't speak clearly, and he can't teach Su Mu a lesson. As he said, resources are unlimited. He thought this blood was enough. It was just a group of warriors. How much could it consume? What's more, the fire wolf's blood is extremely poisonous. How many people can hold on? It's a pity that I met the monster Su Mu. Not only did Su Mu persevere, but he also used up almost all the energy in the first pool. He just checked, and the first pool only had ordinary fire wolf demon blood components left, and there was still half of the energy there. Okay, let's all come up. I really don't have energy. Chen Yaonan said with a dark face. Swish swish swish. In the next second, a group of people jumped up one after another, glaring at Su Mu in dismay. Dare they spend so long soaking in it for nothing? The energy is gone, but the blood is still there, and the toxicity is still there. This time they went down again and their skin was torn apart. But he really did useless work, was eroded by toxicity in vain, and didn't improve at all. A group of people seemed to be eating people. Su Mu didn't care, and directly took care of Ying's shoulders. You didn't ask. Chen Yaonan was speechless. At this moment, he put another label on Su Mu, black-hearted. After all the energy has been absorbed by you, and you let other people go down, it's heartbreaking. Okay, let's adjust for a while. The second pool below is the blood of the martial artist's fire wolf demon. After Chen Yaonan's words fell, the color of the group of people changed. The blood of the fire wolf demon in the warrior realm is already so terrifying. Why go to the warrior realm? Chapter 71. The energy in the first pool was absorbed by Su Mu, so Chen Yaonan could only organize everyone to adjust and rest first. The healing of the healing. The next step is the second pool. Everyone thought that the pools at the back were not for them, but now it seems they were wrong. Chen Yaonan actually wanted them to soak in the pools one by one. The first pool has already made people collapse, and the blood in the second pool is also the blood of the fire wolf demon, but it is the blood of the martial artist, and the toxicity is stronger. But when everyone was still resting, Chen Yaonan looked at Su Mu and raised his brows. Squad leader, continue to show everyone. He didn't believe it anymore. The little monster Su Mu could resist even the blood of the fire wolf demon in the martial arts realm. But he didn't expect that at this moment, Su Mu couldn't bear to go to the second pool to try. The blood of the fire wolf demon in a pool just now allowed him to complete the last two tempering of the internal organs, and the effect was very good. Now even his internal organs have begun to be tempered. Going on like this, maybe the 6 internal organs can be tempered, and then Su Mu will be able to complete the 7th level of perfection, step into the 8th level, or even higher. So, after Chen Yaonan finished speaking, Su Mu went straight to the second pool without even thinking about it, gritted her teeth and jumped down with a plop. Even though Su Mu suffered a lot when she was a child, when she entered the second pool now, she was still screaming in pain. This is the blood of the fire wolf demon from the warrior realm, and its toxicity has increased several times compared to that of the warrior realm, which is not right. In an instant, the skin of Su Mu's whole body was red, even showing signs of ulceration. But Su Mu gritted her teeth in a daze, and didn't care about the pea-sized beads of sweat rolling down her forehead. Because the scene he wanted appeared. The progress of tempering the 6 internal organs, 10%. As Su Mu guessed, the blood tempering effect of this martial artist is better. Even without him fast-forwarding, the toxicity in the blood and the energy of the blood directly drilled into his body through the pores and skin. Of course, if you really want to allow these toxic energies to penetrate into your body will be tempered, but the toxicity will also enter your body. Although Chen Yaonan said that there are military doctors who can save him as long as the poisonous gas does not attack his heart, but Su Mu never entrusts his life to others. He still has to rely on himself. In the next second, enter and open. In the fast-forward mode, Su Mu will not have any sequelae after swallowing the elixir, because in fast-forward mode, the impurities and toxicity will be automatically filtered out. The same goes for the blood of the fire wolf demon. The only thing Su Mu has to bear is the skin on the surface of the body that is in contact with the blood. Because it is in direct contact with the blood of the fire wolf demon, it is inevitable to be corroded. But his 9 times of tempering were not for nothing. Even if it was the blood of a martial artist, there were only signs of burns in a small area at the moment, and it hadn't posed much threat to him yet. Soon, Su Mu actually got used to it again. If you can't, come out. Chen Yaonan reminded. Su Mu shook his head, and when he opened his mouth, his voice trembled slightly, which was the result of being soured by the blood of the fire wolf demon. A man can't say no. Hearing Su Mu's words, Chen Yaonan rolled his eyes again. The duck has a hard mouth. But laughing and cursing, Chen Yaonan's mind was incomparably shaken, and his eyelids twitched again. Monster. It's really a monster, is that all right? Of course, Chen Yaonan was still worried when he said it was all right. If such an evildoer was really killed by bathing in the blood of the fire wolf demon, he would not be able to afford it. Therefore, he is actually paying attention to Su Mu all the time, and if there is something wrong with Su Mu, he will immediately take action and fish out Su Mu. Seeing that Su Mu was fine, Chen Yaonan was a little relieved, and then looked at Chen Yunxi and other students behind him. This time, without waiting for him to speak, these people got up one after another even if they hadn't adjusted their state. They didn't want to be left behind. They couldn't let Su Mu suck up the energy in this pool of fire wolf demon's blood again. And isn't Su Mu okay? It seems that the blood of the fire wolf demon in the martial artist realm is not that scary. Then, with a plop, they jumped down one by one. I'm dying. Grass, it hurts me to death. Help me, I'm dying. As soon as a group of people entered, they started crying and howling. In the next second, someone jumped out. With the first comes the second, and the third. Swish swish swish. In the blink of an eye, one after another jumped out of the pool, and finally only Su Mu stayed in it. Of course, this time Chen Yunxi and Tianzhao also behaved, ran over to find a military doctor to treat the injury, recovered a bit, then ran back and jumped into the pool. They are also afraid Su Mu will suck up the blood of the fire wolf demon in this pool again. If so, are they still training camps? They were all killed by Su Mu. Seeing this, Su Mu is not polite anymore, and continues to secretly increase the fast-forward multiple. He regards these energies as his own. How can they be divided too much by others? If it weren't for Chen Yaonan, the venerable realm, watching from the side, he would have thought that he would not let these guys stay at all. In the end, Su Mu increased the fast-forward multiple to 120,000 times. A large amount of energy was crazily absorbed by him. It was only the third time Chen Yunxi and other Tianzhao jumped into the pool. Su Mu had already got up. Needless to say, the energy is gone again. Puff! A group of Tianzhao wanted to vomit blood, so they could only leave the pool angrily. Not to mention them, even Chen Yaonan couldn't stand it anymore, and gave Su Mu a resentful look. Adjust for another half an hour, and then the third pool, that is the blood of the fire wolf demon in the general realm, which is more poisonous, you go in and stay for up to 30 seconds, you must come out. After saying this, Chen Yaonan glanced at Su Mu. Except for Su Mu. You can do whatever you want. But at this moment, everyone went to heal their injuries and prepare to rest, but Su Mu went directly to the third pool. I am the monitor, I will show you a sample first. Su Mu has even a little injury on his body now, but he can't wait, he wants to continue to practice. Because he was in the second pool just now, the progress of his 6 internal organs tempering has already reached 40%. The third pool is very likely to allow him to complete the tempering of the 6 internal organs, and even start the tempering of the bone marrow. In other words, he can break through the 7th realm and enter the 8th realm. Before today's training camp, Su Mu was still Liuran. In less than a day, he is expected to break through 2 small realms in a row. Where can I find such a good thing? I can't meet it everywhere in the secret place of Qi and blood in the East China Sea. That was the special care given to him by Chen Xuan. Therefore, Su Mu will not let go of such a good opportunity to become stronger. But when he said this, all the faces of the group turned black. Even Chen Yunxi and the others, who were still recovering from their wounds, stood up one after another and followed suit. They were really scared. Su Mu's devil-like absorption speed, and terrifying physical strength, if he was allowed to go in for half an hour first, would they still have a share? In the next second, Chen Yaonan roared with a depressed face, everyone get back. You must rest. Even though Chen Yaonan was beaten to death, he never thought that this would be the end result. He made Su Mu the squad leader just to find an excuse to clean up Su Mu. As a result, Su Mu failed to clean up, and now he has cleaned up the others. Most of the well-prepared fire wolf demon blood is cheaper than Su Mu. While the others were injured, they didn't fall behind, even if they gained nothing. Take a look at Su Mu, who has already broken through the 6th level and entered the 7th level. Seeing that he, the weakest guy in the realm, is about to catch up with everyone. But the rest of Chen Yunxi and the others still didn't gain much. Chen Yaonan wanted to vomit blood, so he forcibly called everyone back. Half an hour later, without Chen Yaonan speaking, a group of people rushed into the pool. Then, the familiar scene happened again. Chen Yunxi and the other 7 people also wanted to absorb more energy, but unfortunately their strength did not allow it. Some of them stayed for a few seconds and then couldn't stand it and jumped out. The better ones, like Chen Yunxi, Wang's sister and brother, couldn't stand until 30 seconds at most before they had to jump out. They jumped out one by one, covered in blood, corroded by poison. But looking at Su Mu again, although it has been corroded, it is obviously much better than them. Have you seen that Su Mu is still soaking in the pool? Chen Yaonan was already numb from the shock of Su Mu. The blood of this general-level fire wolf demon is so poisonous that even a general from will be injured. But Su Mu, still only the skin is burned, and not all of them. The result can be imagined. In the end Su Mu absorbed almost all the energy in the third pool again. And the results are remarkable. At this moment, Su Mu has completely completed 9 times of tempering of the 7th level of tempering 6 viscera, and he has officially stepped into the cultivation of the 8th level, starting to temper the bone marrow. Chen Yunxi and a group of people watched Su Mu break through helplessly. They were all shocked and even more desperate at the same time. They were all defeated by Su Mu last night, and they were holding their breath, but now it seems that it is even more difficult to catch up with Su Mu. Su Mu has already broken through 2 small realms, but none of them have moved yet. But Su Mu was still not satisfied. Instructor, do you still have the fire wolf demon blood? There's you big-headed ghost. Chen Yaonan directly turned back. He was very distressed. The blood of these fire wolf demons was very valuable. Even if he arranged for the demon-suppressing army to catch them, it would take a long time. Of course, the Tang Mansion also subsidized them a lot of money. He also thought that when these students finished their training, they would definitely not be able to use up the blood, so that some geniuses in the real demon room could use it. Result. While cursing, Chen Yaonan looked at Su Mu but was also shocked. The blood of the fire wolf demon in the 3 large pools, although it is only unrefined blood, contains a huge amount of energy. But now, almost all of them are absorbed by Su Mu. This consumption is too terrifying. Su Mu has absorbed so much that he has only been promoted from the 6th level of warrior to the current 8th level. Of course, breaking through 2 realms in one day is scary enough. Now Chen Yaonan is also curious, how strong is Su Mu now? It's a pity that there is no way to verify it right now, so he can't really do it himself, right? He is a dignified commander, a strong warrior. As for the students in the entire training camp, no one dares to provoke Su Mu now. He can only look forward to the battle between the first and second two and Su Mu. He asked his deputy to tell the 2 people about Su Mu last night. At that time, even if the 3 of them don't compete, he will force them to compete. Nothing else, he just wants to know how strong Su Mu is. Being teased by Chen Yaonan, Su Mu was not angry. Instructor, can I go to another class to see? Hearing this, Chen Yaonan rolled his eyes directly. Why didn't he understand Su Mu's meaning? He wanted to go to another class for a bit. Chen Yaonan said angrily with a black face. Don't even think about it. Your class has prepared the most, and the other classes have only 1 pool. All of them are warriors, not yours. What he said was true, because Class 1 of Longying had the highest level of genius and consumed the most resources, so Class 1 prepared the most fire wolf demon blood. Even considering the strength of the monsters in Class 1, they specially prepared more blood from the martial master and military generals. According to Chen Yaonan's design, the latter 2 pools would not be used under normal circumstances. Unexpectedly, all the designs were in vain. Almost all of these resources are cheaper than Su Mu alone. But this fool, now he still thinks of other classes to get some benefits. There are no doors. Even if the other squads really have surplus, he has to leave it to the soldiers of the demon-suppressing army. Okay, this is the end of today's bathing, and the next step is to change clothes. After Chen Yaonan finished speaking, everyone who was still healing looked at him with puzzled expressions. To bathe is to bathe with the blood of the wolf demon. Naturally, changing clothes is definitely not a big deal. Sure enough, when everyone was suspicious, Chen Yaonan clapped his hands, and then a group of warrior soldiers came up and lifted the tarpaulins on a pile of unknown things in the distance. As soon as it was lifted, Su Mu and the others stared wide-eyed. They understood, what kind of clothes are changing clothes. There was actually a pile of black, thick armor made of unknown materials under the tarpaulin. Before everyone came back to their senses, Chen Yaonan grinned. This is a heavy-duty armor made of meteoric iron from outside the sky. From now on, you have to wear this heavy-duty armor to practice, and you can't take it off until 10 days later. Even if you take a bath and sleep, can't take it off. Puff. A group of students almost vomited blood. Sure enough, nothing good happened. While speaking, Chen Yaonan had already come to these heavy-duty armors, pointing to the heavy-duty armors and saying, everyone chooses a heavy-duty armor that is not lower than your basic blood value according to their own basic blood value. Everyone stepped forward, and sure enough, they saw that each piece of weight armor had a weight marked on it, starting from 10,000 to 100,000. After Chen Yaonan's voice fell, everyone could only look innocently forward and began to look for a heavy-duty armor that was no less than their own blood value. But they are all geniuses. Even the 10th-ranked Huang Yan's blood value is as high as 70,000 calories, which means that he has to wear more than 80,000 kilograms of heavy-duty armor. Huang Yanyuan found a pair of 80,000 kilogram weight-bearing armor, but he was out of breath just as he was about to lift it up. In the end, he was able to wear it with the help of the other 2. After wearing it, Huang Yanyuan himself was already sweating profusely, struggling for a long time before he could even take a step. Yes, they are already warriors, their strength is as high as tens of thousands of kilograms, and their combat power is even as high as more than 102 million kilograms. But that is combat power, that is, the instantaneous combat power erupted through combat skills. But this does not mean that their strength is several million kilograms. Their strength is actually the basic strength, which is generally equal to or slightly higher than the basic blood value. Therefore, one can imagine how difficult it is for them to wear a heavy-duty armor that is heavier than their own basic strength. But Chen Yaonan said, once you put it on, you are not allowed to take it off, even for sleeping. In other words, from now on, they will get what they do. No way, a group of students found suitable weight-bearing armor to put on even though they gritted their teeth. In the end, only Su Mu was left rummaging through the load armor pile. Chen Yaonan didn't urge him, just watched Su Mu looking for a suitable heavy armor for him. The other students put on their clothes now, trying to get used to the heavy armor. They also looked at Su Mu one after another. They were also curious about how high Su Mu's basic vitality was. This is a rare opportunity to understand Su Mu's basic qi and blood. This guy even Qianlong didn't record his specific data. But after looking around, Su Mu scratched her head. It seems that there is nothing suitable for me. As soon as Su Mu said this, a group of people were almost wiped out. But Su Mu really didn't lie. The maximum load carrying armor here is 100,000 kilograms, and his basic blood was as high as more than 300,000 before he stepped into the 6th level, and now it is probably 400,000. Basic blood is higher than 100,000 calories. Didn't it say that the highest number of warriors is 100,000? No wonder I can't stand him beating at all. Xu Junfeng and the others murmured in shock. With more than 100,000 calories of blood, they became even more desperate. A group of people looked at each other, and even Chen Yunxi looked depressed. To exceed 100,000 cards, it is impossible for them to be in the warrior realm, and they can only hope to break through the warrior realm. When a warrior breaks through to the martial artist realm, there will be another surge in qi and blood. At that time, it will surpass the Su Mu cliff, no problem. Of course, the premise is that they have to break through before Su Mu, otherwise there is still no hope. So, without Chen Yaonan's encouragement at this moment, a group of people are gnashing their teeth, secretly vowing to break through before Su Mu. While the group of people were depressed, Chen Yaonan also had a dark face. He really didn't have a load-bearing armor higher than 100,000 kilograms, and it was too late to build it temporarily. It was sent from the Datang mansion. In the end, he could only say, just wear the heaviest pair. When he thought about it, it was impossible for Su Mu's qi and blood to be higher than 100,000 calories, and wearing 100,000 kilograms of weight-bearing armor would almost be effective. Then, Su Mu put on the heavy armor easily without any help from others. This scene once again caused a group of Tianjiao monsters to suffer critical damage. Among them, Chen Yunxi, Wang Mufeng, and Wang Muqing all had more than 80,000 blood, so they were wearing 90,000 kilograms of heavy-duty armor. Xu Junfeng and several others have a blood pressure of more than 70,000 kilograms, and they all wear 80,000 kilograms. But they were put on with the help of others, but Su Mu put it on easily by herself. It was difficult for them to move after wearing it, but Su Mu was still bouncing around after wearing it, as if nothing happened. People, what they are most afraid of is comparison, especially these self-esteemed arrogants and evildoers. Seeing that everyone was dressed, Chen Yaonan waved his hand. Okay, for the rest of the time, I will go to the square in the middle of the camp to find someone to learn from, get used to the cultivation base, and if the poison has not been completely detoxified, I will also learn from it, just as a detoxification. Quote. Chen Yaonan arranged the next thing in a nonchalant manner. As a result, as soon as these words came out, Chen Yunxi and the others were all taken aback. Do you still want to learn from each other? How do you fight this? Wearing heavy armor, it is difficult to walk, and you still have to learn from each other. Except for Su Mu, everyone else has black lines all over their faces, so how can we compete with each other? Wearing heavy armor, it is difficult to even move, so you still have to fight. But Chen Yaonan didn't care so much. I'm just suggesting that after soaking in the blood of the fire wolf demon, the toxicity remains, and even the absorbed energy has not been fully utilized, so it's best to move around. After finishing speaking, Chen Yaonan stopped Su Mu. Su Mu, you go to the logistics camp to get the quenching body pill. From now on, each person will be supplied with 1 pill per day. That's it, it's gone. Soon the crowd dispersed, and Chen Yunxi and other students trudged to the square to find someone to discuss. Su Mu was the squad leader, so he could only trot all the way to get the elixir. Su Mu muttered unhappily along the way. He also said that the resources are unlimited. I believe you, old man. In the next second, Chen Yaonan, who hadn't gone far, turned dark and almost ran away. Not only because of Su Mu's words, but also because of Su Mu's actions. This guy can't. Is this 100,000 calories of blood? Chen Yaonan's eyes widened. This is true for him, not to mention the other students who are struggling to walk right now. Can it still run? Surely Su Mu's basic blood is only a little over 100,000. Soon, Su Mu received a bottle of body tempering pill from the logistics battalion. Each person can receive a free body tempering pill every day, and there are 10 people in a class, which happens to be 1 bottle. Of course, the first and second Zhou Han and Fang Junyan didn't come, and they didn't need to continue to temper their bodies. Of course, the extra 2 elixirs, Su Mu, are not welcome, and they are directly taken to her. After Su Mu finished distributing the elixir, he also wanted to check the progress of his own strength, but when he looked back, almost everyone was competing with others. There are 8 people in the class. At the moment, 2 girls, Chen Yunxi and Wang Mukching, are sparring. Of course, it's just sparring. It's the kind of sparring where you give me one and I'll give you another. No way, they can't fight at all, because it's hard to move. And because of Su Mu's defeat of everyone, the 2 of them couldn't get angry anymore. Now neither Chen Yunxi nor Wang Mukching has the intention to compete with each other. Just like what Wang Mukching said, the goal they want to catch up with now is not each other, or even the top 2 talents, but Su Mu. In addition, Wang Mufeng and Xu Junfeng were sparring, and the 2 of them fought more politely. Each move took more than 10 seconds. The other group is Fujia and Tang Dao, who are ranked 8th and 9th, are competing. Huang Yanyuan, the only one who has no opponent yet, is watching the battle. Su Mu glanced around, and finally could only focus on Huang Yanyuan. Being stared at by Su Mu, Huang Yanyuan's face darkened immediately, and he quickly joined the battle between Fujia and Tang Dao. It's the same for the 3 of you to compete. But Tang Dao and Fujia didn't even object, and the 3 of them began to discuss with each other. Su Mu was speechless. Then, Su Mu could only walk towards Xu Junfeng and Wang Mufeng. But before they got there, Xu Junfeng said obsequiously, "Brother Mu, we are evenly matched, so it's not convenient for a 3rd person to join in." Xu Junfeng doesn't want to practice duels with Su Mu now. If he wants to challenge Su Mu, he has to wait until his realm has a breakthrough. Of course, the most important thing is that he can't do it now, because the heavy armor on his body is too heavy. Su Mu looked at the 2 girls with a dark face. Chen Yunxi rolled her eyes, obviously not welcoming him. And Wang Mukching smiled. "Su Mu, you don't want to join our girls sparring, do you?" Su Mu froze on the spot in embarrassment. His action yesterday was indeed impressive, but it also had a negative effect, and now he wants to find someone to practice his hands, but he is gone. He can't go to other classes to find someone to learn from. But at this moment, a voice sounded behind Su Mu. "No opponent, I just happen to be idle, so I can practice with you." Hearing the sound, Su Mu turned around and saw a warrior from the demon-suppressing army in armor. Su Mu has seen this person before, and he often follows the commander-in-chief Chen Yaonan, and seems to be Chen Yaonan's deputy. Su Mu didn't think too much, and nodded directly. "Then thank you, General." "Don't call me a general, I can't afford it. I'm the commander-in-chief's deputy, the captain of the guard brigade, you can call me Captain Sun." As he spoke, Captain Sun stepped aside, put down his weapon, and began to unload. "It's been a long time since I've fought against young people. I've been fighting monsters and aliens all day long. Just in time, I also want to see how the evildoers are doing this year." Captain Sun smiled very gently. Soon, the 2 stood facing each other. Captain Sun rolled up his sleeves, showed an intriguing smile, and waved to Su Mu. "Come and do it." Seeing that the two were about to fight each other, Chen Yunxi and the others unexpectedly stopped the sparring and duel training, and looked towards where the two were. There is no other reason, but because Captain Sun is a military general, even if it is only a foundation of tempering, and he has just broken through to the military general not long ago. But this is also a real strong general. A strong military commander has millions of vitality and tens of millions of combat power at the beginning. Otherwise, it doesn't deserve to be called a general. Su Mu, can you be the opponent of a strong general? What's more, he is also wearing a 100,000 kilogram weight-bearing armor. They were not worried about Su Mu, but had some small expectations that Su Mu would be suppressed, even if the opponent was an older elder, a strong general. Since last night, they seem to be living under Su Mu's shadow and breathless. So a bunch of people are looking forward to it. Su Mu cupped his hands to Captain Sun, and said politely, "Thank you, Captain Sun, for training with me, and I also ask the captain of the team to be merciful." Immediately afterwards, the two shot at the same time. Although they did not use weapons, they were equally powerful. Boom! There was an explosion in the air, and the fists of the two collided fiercely. Boom! When the loud noise came, Su Mu took a few steps back before standing still, but looking at Captain Sun, he was still motionless, even with a smile on his face. Sure enough, the result was the same as everyone expected. How can you say that Captain Sun is also a strong general, and Su Mu carries a weight of 100,000 kilograms, how could he be the opponent of Captain Sun? Good. Chen Yunxi directly clapped her hands. Uncle Sun, teach him a lesson, don't hold back. Of course, Chen Yunxi knows Captain Sun, this is her father's deputy, and he also watched her grow up, and her relationship with her is not like father and daughter, but it is better than father and daughter. Even sometimes, Captain Sun treats her better than her father. When other people saw this scene, they also breathed a sigh of relief, with smiles on their faces. Although they didn't speak, they probably had the same thoughts. That is schadenfreude. Su Mu is also suppressed sometimes. Will Su Mu be deflated when he meets a strong general? But at this time, Su Mu frowned. He wants to test his current strength, but he won't expose all of it. In order not to be too eye-catching, he left a lot of power zones. In other words, he just punched, and he didn't try his best at all. But obviously, this Captain Sun didn't want to stay strong, at least tens of millions of combat power just now. Su Mu frowned fiercely, glanced at Captain Sun, and then at Chen Yunxi's proud raised eyebrows. He seemed to understand something. In the next second, Captain Sun clenched his fist again and took a step towards Su Mu. Young people should know how to do things to leave a front line, but also to leave a little room for themselves. Accompanied by Captain Sun's words, Su Mu couldn't understand that Captain Sun was showing Chen Yunxi a favor. Chen Yunxi was so annoyed by Su Mu that her father didn't want to stand out, and he didn't want to stand out, but that doesn't mean others won't stand up for Chen Yunxi either. Obviously, this Captain Sun didn't have the good intentions to be his training partner today, but came to teach him a lesson. Thinking of this, Su Mu also laughed, and he replied with a smile, "Really? But I don't think Captain Sun will leave any room for it." While talking, the two collided again. Boom! There was another loud noise, but the strange thing was that Su Mu didn't move at all, but Captain Sun took a few steps back with a livid face. All of a sudden, everyone's eyes widened, watching this scene in disbelief. Did Captain Sun keep his hand, or did Su Mu become stronger all of a sudden? Obviously, even if they are only warriors, their eyesight is not so bad that they can't tell the difference. Captain Sun didn't hold back, but Su Mu's strength suddenly became much stronger. The only explanation is that Su Mu didn't try his best with his previous punch. I'll go, how strong is this guy? Can't even a strong military commander suppress him? No wonder I can't survive a single move under his hands. Everyone in the audience murmured in a low voice. Su Mu's strength is very strong, and now it seems that he is so strong that they are a little desperate. The most important thing is that Su Mu is still carrying a heavy load, wearing a 100,000 kilogram heavy-duty armor, and he can actually blow Captain Sun from the military commander. Especially Xu Junfang, Wang's siblings, and Chen Yunxi. Since what happened last night, they have been wanting to become stronger all the time, and finally regain the face they lost at Su Mu. But now it seems that hope is even slimmer. Su Mu is wearing a heavy armor, but he can still fight strong generals. As for military commanders, even those who start out with just one training like Captain Sun, their combat strength is as high as tens of millions. Su Mu can easily repel the opponent, his combat strength must exceed 10 million kilograms. What kind of monster is this? In fact, they were more than shocked. Even Captain Sun's eyes widened for the first time, his face full of disbelief. He is at the general level, although he is not a monstrous genius, but he has cultivated to the general level step by step, which is almost the limit of his level of strength. But no matter how weak he is also a strong general, with a combat power of tens of millions. But with this punch right now, he felt the terrifying power from Su Mu. At this moment, his arm is painful and numb. How strong is Su Mu? But at the same time, when everyone was stunned, Su Mu took another step, and said with a cold smile. Captain Sun, don't hold back, your older generation likes to look forward and backward, it's so boring, come again. As soon as the words fell, Su Mu charged again, and his fist blasted out instantly. Boom! Captain Sun reacted hastily, but was instantly blown away. The terrifying force from Su Mu brought him straight to the ground. Captain Sun's face was blue and purple, and he was ashamed. The dignified elder, the dignified military commander, was easily blown away by Su Mu. Captain Sun is annoyed. As expected of a seasoned veteran, when he landed on the ground, he took advantage of the momentum and rolled to the side where the weapon was placed. With a long knife in his hand, he slashed at Su Mu's feet. Uncle Sun, don't. Seeing this scene, Chen Yunxi was shocked and shouted, but before it was too late, the knife had already been cut off. In an instant, Chen Yunxi and a group of evildoers changed their colors one after another. Although they were not happy with Su Mu, they were convinced that they lost, but now that Captain Sun is using a knife, he is going to kill someone. A group of people watched helplessly as Captain Sun slashed down with a long knife. Although the blow was fatal, would Su Mu's feet be saved if he hit it? Even if he keeps it, his future cultivation will have to be greatly reduced. But at the same time, when everyone was shocked, Su Mu's speed was not affected much even though he was wearing heavy armor. He raised his foot very quickly, stepped on it, and actually firmly stepped on the long knife in Captain Sun's hand. No matter how hard Captain Sun drew his knife, he still didn't move at all. Just when Captain Sun was astonished, Su Mu's eyes became colder. He stepped on the long knife with his left foot, but suddenly kicked out with his right. Captain Sun didn't react at all, and was directly kicked in the chest. The power spread in an instant. Captain Sun spit out a mouthful of blood at the same time he was kicked away. And Su Mu took advantage of the trend with his left foot, and the long knife was directly brought up by him, and then held in his hand. Using a knife. Captain Sun wants to kill me. Su Mu smiled evilly, holding the long knife and leaping instantly, slashing down with the knife in the air. Su Mu doesn't like to kill people, and he's not a reckless man, but he never shows mercy to those who have malicious intentions towards him. Even if Captain Sun is actually just trying to vent Chen Yunxi's anger. From Su Mu stepping on the long knife and then kicking Captain Fei Sun, to now holding the long knife and slashing down in the air, it was only a blink of an eye. Before everyone could react, the situation had already reversed. But at this moment, Captain Sun was still in midair and hadn't landed yet. Wherever there was time to dodge, his dead souls were dying, and he watched the long knife slash down in despair. Seeing Su Mu's long knife fall, everyone was stunned. Chen Yunxi also broke down and shouted, "Don't!" Others couldn't bear to close their eyes. Swish! In an instant, the long knife fell, but it stopped just as it was about to hit Captain Sun. I saw an air mass composed of unknown energy above the knife edge, holding the long knife firmly. Captain Sun barely escaped. At this time, everyone realized that Chen Yaonan had appeared beside him at some time, and his hands were in a strange posture. Fa Ju, something that can only be used by those who are strong in the three realms of Qi training. Warriors, and generals are called the three realms of refining, and they cultivate Qi and blood. And Wu Hu, Wu Zun, and Wu Wang in the back are called the three realms of Qi training, and what they practice is spiritual energy. Chen Yaonan is a strong martial artist. He has gone beyond the scope of refining. His methods are completely unimaginable in front of a group of martial arts students. Even Chen Yunxi, the daughter of Chen Yaonan, was actually seeing his father make a move for the first time. But Su Mu frowned and was shocked. He thought that as long as he went to the limit every step, what about these top powerhouses? Now it seems not so simple. Seeing that Chen Yaonan just made a move, no matter how strong the warrior is, it might be difficult for him to get close, so how can he fight? While Su Mu was shocked, Chen Yaonan was not shocked. He was too shocked to speak. Su Mu, at the 8th level of warriors, you are still just entering the 8th level, and you can actually kill generals. Yes, Captain Sun is just the most trash general, and he is also a beginner, but he is also a general. The most important thing is that Su Mu is also wearing a heavy armor, which can kill generals, and his combat power exceeds 10 million. Chen Yaonan looked at Su Mu in surprise and depression. Surprisingly, Su Mu is so evil, the future is limitless, in the near future, there may be an extremely strong man born in the Tang Mansion. What is depressing is that Captain Sun used the knife first, and now Su Mu is going to kill Captain Sun, which is troublesome. If he had come later, Captain Sun would have been a dead man. But at this moment, Su Mu let go of the long knife in his hand and snorted coldly, "The instructor wants to stop me." Chen Yaonan's face turned extremely ugly. With a wave of his hand, he put away the long knife. He didn't answer Su Mu's question, but looked at Captain Sun. Sun Jungwoo arbitrarily attacked the students of Wuzhejing, revoked all positions, cleared military merits, and punished the Vanguard Battalion to serve 10 years to atone for their sins. Do you have anything to say? As soon as these words came out, many warriors who were watching from a distance were probably taken aback. This punishment is very heavy. It's fine to be dismissed from the post, and it's fine to clear the military merits, but the Vanguard Battalion has served for 10 years. Isn't this the same as letting Captain Sun stay in the Pioneer Battalion? What is the Vanguard Battalion? They rush to the front line in any battle, the danger is the greatest, the casualties are the most, and if one is not careful, his life will be gone. But it's right to think about it, the Tang Mansion has strict rules and regulations. Su Mu is not only a martial artist, 2 big realms lower than Captain Sun, but also an associate student of the Great Tang Martial House. Captain Sun committed a big taboo by attacking Su Mu. Hearing this, Sun Junwoo knelt down and bowed down. "Thank you, Commander, for not killing me." Junwoo has nothing to say. Chen Yaonan nodded. Go and receive the punishment yourself." Sun Junwoo got up and clasped his fists again, then turned to look at Su Mu. "Brother Su, just now I was the one who made the mistake first, and I used the knife first. I am willing to accept the punishment, and please forgive me." He was really on fire just now. Any strong general would lose his mind if he was beaten like that by a warrior. What a shame. But Su Mu had no expression on her face, just watched Chen Yaonan deal with it, and watched Sun Junwoo leave the place. Then, Chen Yaonan looked at Su Mu with black lines all over his face. "I apologize to you on behalf of Captain Sun, and I promise that similar things will never happen again, and the same goes for everyone else. I, the strong in the Great Tang Mansion, will never bully the weak." But when he said this, he felt a little awkward. In terms of realm, Su Mu is naturally weak. In terms of strength, is Su Mu really weak? If he doesn't show up, Captain Sun will die. Su Mu remained expressionless, and said indifferently, "Fair, just, I have nothing to say." Chen Yaonan's face became darker, and he said in secret, "Boy, it's almost done, you haven't settled with you for bullying my daughter yet, you're going to kick your nose and face." Hearing this, Su Mu gave a dry cough with some guilt. "Ahem, why are you looking at me? I said it, but I have nothing to say, but it's up to the instructor to handle it." "Oh, no, it's the instructor who handled it very well, I have no opinion." As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere on the scene eased up a little. In fact, Su Mu really wants to investigate. Captain Sun may not be enough to punish the Pioneer Battalion. The Tang Mansion's emphasis on talents is not just talking about it. These arrogants and evildoers of the heavens have attracted much attention. Once they make a mistake, even a powerhouse like Chen Yaonan can't afford it. Soon, everyone dispersed and went back to their tents to rest. Because Su Mu almost killed the general, everyone worked hard to practice. Especially Chen Yunxi, she wished she could break through to the martial master realm right now. Now she has credited Su Mu again and almost killed her closest uncle's son. The news spread quickly, and Su Emu's fame became even more popular. Not to mention among the students, even the entire military camp has spread the word. Warriors kill generals, not to mention unique, but definitely rare. And Su Mu also returned to the tent. After the battle just now, the realm he just broke through has become more stable. And after the battle, he also has a better understanding of his current situation. There are about 400,000 chi in blood, and there should be 500,000 chi in blood after the 9th level realm is tempered. Su Mu silently calculated, and the combat power is about 12 million. This is his current situation, 9 forged 8th level, basic blood of 400,000, and combat power of 12 million kilograms. Compared with before, the combat power has increased by more than 102 million kilograms. This is equivalent to the combat power of a student participating in the training camp. This is a very scary number, at least in the warrior realm. Of course, Su Mu couldn't be complacent, especially after seeing Chen Yaonan, the strong Wu Zun, make a move. Next, he will go to Datang Mansion City, where there are more powerful people like clouds. What is a mere warrior? Do you still expect someone to stand up for you? Su Mu never only believed in herself. The more knowledgeable he is, the more he desires to become stronger quickly. Fortunately, the fast-forward function is powerful enough, the only thing lacking is resources. As long as the resources are sufficient, he can quickly improve. At this moment, a voice came from the tent door. Brother Mu, are you there? I am solid. Hearing this, Su Mu froze for a moment, then said, come in. In the next second, two people came in from the outside. One was Zhang Hua, and the other was also a student from Zhongling. Without waiting for Su Mu to ask questions, Zhang Hua directly took out a bottle of body tempering pill and handed it to Su Mu. What's the meaning? Su Mu frowned. Zhang Hua took a deep breath. It was given by someone else. Zhang Hua explained the situation again. These elixirs were obtained from the apologies of those students who challenged Zhang Hua before. And Zhang Hua, after learning the reason, he dare not take these pills. Is this for him? Although he is not weak in energy and blood, and his combat power is not weak, he is still much worse than Fucheng Tianzhao. Here, he is only considered to be of an average level. Didn't you see that he still has marks of being beaten on his face now? If it weren't for Su Mu, those who beat him would have come to apologize to him, and these apologetic pills were not for him at all, but for Su Mu. After listening, Su Mu is not polite anymore. He is short of resources now. A bottle of quenching body dan is worth 100 million. And it is not necessarily possible to buy it for 100 million yuan. There are 10 pills in a bottle. Even in the training camp, he can only receive 1 pill every day. Seeing that Su Mu accepted it, Zhang Hua was relieved. Su Mu accepts it, which means that Su Mu will not refuse to let them speak in Su Emu's name, and it will be much easier in the future. In this training camp, with Su Mu as their backer, they can relax a lot. Seeing Su Mu accepting it, Zhang Hua cupped his fists. Brother Mu, we won't disturb you. But Su Mu beckoned. Wait a minute, how many customers are you now? Before Zhang Hua came back to his senses, Su Mu shook his head again and looked at another student. How high are you ranked? This student was ranked at the bottom in Zhongling province before, and he is also at the bottom here, with only 50,000 calories in blood. Hearing Su Emu's words, he said with trepidation. The two looked confused, but Su Mu stood up directly. You, challenge me. This student was even more confused, and waved his hands again and again. Don't dare. Those ranked lower can challenge the ones ranked higher. This is the rule announced by Chen Yaonan. But he ranks 1089, Su Mu ranks 3rd, what a challenge, he will be defeated with 1 move. Su Mu grinned. Don't be afraid, let's go outside, you challenge me loudly, then I will admit defeat. Got it. Before the student could react, Zhang Hua suddenly figured it out, and his eyes widened. Brother Mu, do you want to? Su Mu nodded. Don't tell me if you see through, come on, it depends on you whether you can quickly get a batch of resources. Don't worry, I won't treat you badly. Hearing this, Zhang Hua gritted his teeth. Brother Mu, what to say and how to do it, just say what you say, and all the students from our entire Zhongling province will fully support you. Soon, the 3 of them got out of the tent. The student who didn't understand the situation still didn't understand the details, but he could only bite the bullet and shout, "Su Mu, I want to challenge you." As soon as the sound came out, it immediately attracted a bunch of onlookers. What's the situation? Aren't they all from Zhongling? I don't understand, isn't this guy the last one? He challenged Su Mu and wanted to die. Isn't it just looking for death? Su Mu almost shot and killed a strong general just now, and there are still some idiots who come to die. While everyone was discussing, Su Mu grinned and said directly, "I admit defeat." Wow. As soon as these words came out, everyone at the scene was in an uproar. Wo Sao, why do you feel the smell of conspiracy? What is Su Mu doing? Challenges can still be played like this. Su Mu wants to make trouble. While everyone was discussing, Su Mu took Zhang Hua and the two of them away, followed by a group of people who eat melons. Soon, Su Mu arrived at the last camp, Snake Camp. Then Su Mu stood still in the Snake Camp, and said directly, "I, Su Mu, currently ranked 1089th, challenge the 13th class of the Snake Camp." In an instant, everyone understood. This Su Mu is dropping his ranking, and then sweeping everyone in the name of challenge. A group of people became a little contemptuous. "Brother Mu, is it interesting to bully these weak people? That is, let alone 10 of them, even 100 of them will not be your match. Aren't you bored without an opponent? Why don't you call Zhou Han and Fang Junyuan back for a fight?" Su Mu didn't care about everyone's words, and raised his eyebrows. This brother is right, then challenge everyone in Shelley. As soon as these words came out, the people in Snake Camp showed aggrieved expressions. "Su Mu, you are going too far. Is it true that 100 or 200 of us can't beat you? Su Mu, are you crazy?" Su Mu grinned. "It's okay if you don't fight, you admit defeat, and then each presents a elixir. I promise, I will never harass you again within 3 days. Wow Sao, robber. Understood, this is robbery in the name of challenge. I'm going, can I still play like this?" Everyone suddenly understood what Su Mu was going to do. The challenge was fake, he was so strong, would it be interesting to deal with the weak? Obviously boring. What Su Mu wanted was the elixir. Because everyone in the training camp has a pill every day. Calculated, in 30 days, each person can get 30 pieces, that is, 3 bottles of body-quenching pills. Su Mu didn't rush to kill them all. He planned to sweep once in 3 days, 1 coin per person, more than 1,000 people. Not everyone was cleaned up, at least 27 people from Zhongling province were let go. In this way, he can harvest 1,000 pills every day. As for the rules, he didn't break them. The students from Zhongling province challenged him, but he conceded defeat, so he was naturally the 1089th, the last one. He can challenge anyone. He challenged one by one, or a squad, a battalion to challenge. It doesn't matter if you don't give the pill, and you will be beaten every day, anyway, as long as you don't kill people, there is no violation. Su Mu is provoking public outrage. But he was sure that even if everyone was angry, no one would really dare to deal with him. On the one hand, his strength is extremely terrifying. Today, he almost killed a general. How many people dare to deal with him? On the other hand, apart from Su Mu himself, none of the students who participated in the training had a background. Although the elixir is precious, it is not impossible to get it out. Su Mu is not killing them all, but comes every 3 days. Sure enough, when everyone was attacking Su Mu with righteous indignation, some students from the Snake Camp timidly walked over and handed over an elixir. Then, the second one appeared, this time directly offering a bottle. "I will buy it for 30 days without being disturbed." As a result, the others learned to be smart, and all of them with dark faces, even though they were extremely angry, endured the pain in their hearts, endured their anger, and sent the pills to the people. There is no way, the strength is not as good as human beings. It's okay to fight, the key is to get everyone to work together. If so many people are really working together, no matter how strong Su Mu is, he will have to burp. Unfortunately, this is too difficult, even more difficult than defeating Su Mu. As a result, more than 100 people in Snake Camp, except for a few people from Zhongling province, were all given pills, and many of them gave a bottle directly. Su Mu waved, "Go to Eagle Camp." In the same way, Su Mu returned to Longying not long after. This time, he didn't challenge the whole battalion, but came one class at a time. In the end, Even longing was challenged by him all over the place, and there were some who were not open to it, but Su Mu just let the other party admit it. In the end, there were only a few people from Class 1 who were not robbed. Su Mu let them go, and they saw each other every day, and they were really robbed and difficult to get along with. What's more, these guys are rich, but they are also powerful, causing troubles constantly. But Su Mu didn't look for them. Xu Junfeng came with the 80th and 90th on his own initiative, and each offered a bottle of body-tempering pill. Brother Su, this is our wish, don't be too little. Xu Junfeng's words were nice. He didn't say clearly that this was an elixir that would not be challenged for 30 days, but the meaning was obvious. Su Mu was also polite and put it away directly. Then, only the Wang siblings were left, and the two of them were quite acquainted, and Wang Mufeng also sent 2 bottles of pills. In the end, the only one who didn't give the pill was Chen Yunxi. At this moment, Chen Yunxi was with her father Chen Yaonan. The two were listening to a student complaining. Master, Su Mu is too much. He robbed everyone. Hey, I gave him a bottle of elixir, which is only used by the family to let me break through as a martial artist. Hearing the crying voices one by one, Chen Yaonan's face was covered with black lines, while Chen Yunxi's eyes widened. Can you still play like this? Chen Yaonan glared at Chen Yunxi. Chen Yunxi shrank his neck and quickly closed his mouth. Only then did Chen Yaonan speak loudly. I'll take care of it, but you just gave it like this. A group of people nodded one after another. If you don't give up, you will be beaten. Puff. Chen Yaonan wanted to vomit blood. He directly snorted coldly. You deserve to be robbed. This is his sincere words. A group of counselors, if so many people can really unite, no matter how strong Su Mu is, he was robbed by Su Mu alone. It's a big joke. Soon, Chen Luyu spoke. Su Mu disrupted the order of the training camp. From tomorrow onwards, he will stop supplying any resources. He will go to the wild to hunt monsters by himself. He will no longer participate in the next training camp and will directly enter the inspection stage. As soon as these words came out, people's hearts were immediately relieved, and a group of people breathed a sigh of relief, as happy as if they had chased away a demon. But someone also asked, Master, where is the elixir we gave out? Do you still have the face to ask about pills? The coercion on Chen Yaonan's body dissipated, and a group of people retreated one after another. Chen Yaonan continued to roar. You still have the face to ask for pills? A group of people are robbed by one person, what a shame. A group of people suddenly fell silent. Obviously, the elixir is not coming back. But the result is considered good. Su Mu finally got paid. Otherwise, if he really comes once every 3 days, who can stand it? And Su Mu naturally heard Chen Yaonan's voice in the tent. Rush to the wild to hunt monsters. Participate in the inspection in advance. He shook his head. He didn't care at all, and he didn't even think about robbing him every 3 days. Unless Chen Yaonan was dead, he didn't care about anything. His goal has been achieved, and now he has as many as 600 bottles of body-tempering pill, which was snatched. Su Mu was dumbfounded by this achievement. It was too much, and the value was as high as 60 billion. Of course, now that money is just a number, it doesn't mean much anymore. 600 bottles, more than 6,000 pills, is it enough for me to finish quenching my body? Su Mu's face was beaming, and she didn't care what the outsiders said, or how these robbed guys hated her. Who cares, the resources are obtained, and Chen Yaonan didn't say that he would take them back, so use them quickly, lest you have long nights and dreams. Soon, it was getting late. This was the second night for all the students to come to the training camp, and it was a sleepless night. Still because of Su Mu. This time it wasn't any genius who was abused, but everyone. The few geniuses in Class 1 were lucky to say that they gave the pill, but they also saved face, and that little pill was nothing to them. Others are struggling. If it is not for the free pills, they are really poor and useless. Fortunately, there is still a supply of 1 pill per day, which is 3 bottles of pills for 30 days. This night, Su Mu's name resounded through the camp again, including all the warriors of the demon-suppressing army. Not only BFBG because Su Mu robbed all the geniuses, but also because Su Mu almost killed the general. Su Mu is a devil, a ruthless person. Everyone turns pale when they mention his name. On the first day, he cleaned up several top talents in Class 1, and then almost killed the deputy next to the commander, a general-level powerhouse, and then swept the entire training camp and robbed everyone. It can be said that this is an unprecedented feat. Since the founding of the Datang Mansion, and since the Datang Martial Mansion held training camps, this has never happened before. Even, Su Mu's deeds have begun to spread in the Datang Mansion through various channels. Su Mu's name as the Great Devil is destined to spread throughout the entire Datang Mansion. As for Su Mu, he didn't feel that he was going too far, and he was still practicing with peace of mind. Thousands of pills, fast forward infinitely, his body quenching speed is very fast. Anyway, the fact of going to the wild to hunt monsters tomorrow cannot be changed, so naturally we must improve our strength as much as possible. By hunting monsters, you can gain military merit, and you can also hone your fighting skills and awareness, killing two birds with one stone. Time passed quickly. Before midnight, Su Mu stopped practicing. At this moment, he has reached the 9th level of warrior realm. Skin, muscle, bones. All parts are tempered 9 times. 9 refinements and 9 realms, his first small goal has been achieved. The next step is to practice in the realm of a martial artist. Quenching body pill, there is not much left, only more than 10 bottles, naturally reserved for those guys in Zhongling province. Anyway, he won't be able to use it anymore. Su Mu tried a little bit of his current vitality and strength. Without a reference target, Su Mu can only make a rough estimate. 500,000 chi and blood, and 15 million battle calendar days to prove it. This is where he is now. But then Su Mu hesitated. The next step is to condense the essence and blood to break through the martial artist realm, or try to see if I can continue to refine it. Martial master level blood coagulation, no need to quench the body, he has Kung Fu, Wu Ji Jing, heaven level Kung Fu. In addition, he also has the method of compressing chi and blood compression method. The only thing they don't have is resources suitable for the martial arts world. But according to his current energy and blood strength, no resources are needed, and he can condense blood essence and step into the martial artist realm by compressing energy and blood. But Su Mu has always had a guess, that is, the 9 refinements and 9 levels realm is not the limit of a warrior. He is a person who practiced the Wu Ji Jing, he followed the extreme path, and he was unwilling to take every step to the extreme. When tempering the skin, he discovered that after the 9 forgings, the skin is only mixed with gold, not all of it is golden. Obviously, the limit is to completely turn into gold. That is to say, for a warrior to temper his body, the 9 forging and 9 levels might really not be the limit. But at present, he has not found a breakthrough, the progress bar has disappeared, and he really doesn't know where to start. Su Mu, who urgently needs to become stronger, has the urge to break through as a martial artist immediately. Breaking through the martial master realm, there should be a qualitative leap in strength. But in the end, he forcibly suppressed this midfielder. Wait a few more days and try it out. If you really can't find a breakthrough, then break through to the martial master realm. After breaking through the 9th forging and 9th level cultivation base, Su Mu was not in a hurry to rest. He entered the sea of consciousness, and found that the faint and thin ray of spiritual power had become thicker and thicker. It seems that tempering the marrow and brain can indeed increase a lot of spiritual power. Su Mu had already guessed when he started tempering. Although his spiritual power is growing every moment due to the existence of the phantom beast skull, this growth is very slow. Now this mental power has suddenly become thick and strong, which is obviously related to the tempering of the marrow and brain. I just don't know if I can comprehend supernatural powers if I go back to the Qi and Blood secret realm in the East China Sea now. Su Mu shook his head, he can remember this matter. Not only did he comprehend supernatural powers, he also wanted to directly refine that small secret realm. But don't worry, if you don't have enough mental strength to go back, then it's a waste of time. And he has no chance to go back now. There is no rush. Then, Su Mu tried to disperse his consciousness. As his mental strength becomes stronger, his ability to sense the surrounding environment also becomes stronger, that's for sure. Before, because the mental power was too weak, this sensing ability was almost negligible. But now, with the power of his consciousness spreading, even with his eyes closed, any small details in the tent seemed to be seen with his own eyes. And this range is still expanding, soon beyond the range of the tent, and spread out towards the outside. It was about dozens of steps away before Su Mu felt a slight pain in his head. He was about to withdraw his consciousness, but in the next second he saw a familiar figure through his consciousness. Seeing this figure, Su Mu frowned slightly. Why is she here? At this moment, in a shadow a few dozen steps away from Su Mu's tent, Chen Yunxi was struggling. She was holding a roll of unknown materials in her hand, and was hesitating, as if something made it difficult for him to make up her mind. Su Mu simply withdrew the divine consciousness covering other places, and when the divine consciousness was concentrated, he began to observe Chen Yunxi. Su Mu was also amazed by the wonderful use of divine consciousness. Chen Yunxi's spiritual sense is very weak, so naturally she couldn't detect Su Mu's prying eyes. At this moment, Chen Yunxi bit her lip, looked at the things in her hands, and finally walked towards the tent where Su Mu was. This fool, why should I help him? Forget it, just this time, don't make another example. Chen Yunxi murmured in a low voice, a blush quietly appeared on her face. She looked around nervously, making sure no one found her, so she relaxed a little. It's just that she never imagined that Su Mu saw and heard all of this. After a long time, Chen Yunxi had already approached Su Mu's tent. Of course, it wasn't too close, and there were still a few steps away. Chen Yunxi stood still, threw the information in his hand to the side of Su Mu's tent, turned around and fled as if flying. Inside the tent, Su Mu looked confused. I'm an asshole. Do you want to help me? Shaking her head, Su Mu got up and went outside the tent to pick up the things Chen Yunxi dropped. Back to the tent as soon as it is opened, work. This is a roll of military maps. Moreover, there are obviously traces of man-made later standards on the map. The map clearly marked the topography of the land of flames, dangerous caves, volcanoes, and the approximate distribution range of monsters. In particular, the distribution range of monsters is marked in great detail with dots and lines of different colors. The outermost area, that is, near the camp, is marked in blue and reminds that the realm of monsters in this area is the realm of warriors. Of course, it also specifically marked the gathering place of monsters and the location of a single nine-fold monster. Then the second circle, which is a little farther away, is marked in yellow, which is naturally where the monsters equivalent to the martial artist are. The third circle further inside is marked in red, which is the distribution area of monsters that is equivalent to the military commander's realm. In the back, there is no detailed label, but a line of words is directly written: powerful monsters haunt, non-strong people are forbidden to approach. Su Mu grinned. I didn't expect this little girl to hate me so much and treat me so well. Woman, it's so complicated. Su Mu really couldn't figure out what Chen Yunxi was thinking. He and she have gotten into such a fight, and they even gave him a map. Early tomorrow morning, Su Mu will be kicked out of the camp, and go to the wild to survive, hunt monsters, and conduct research, which will last for nearly a month. Su Mu, who is not familiar with the land of flames at all, has completely black eyes. He can only grope slowly, avoiding danger as much as possible. But now, having the map Su Mu sent by Chen Yunxi can save a lot of time. What kind of monsters do you want to hunt, whether you live alone or in groups, and avoid dangerous places, desperate places, and forbidden places? Having a map can do more with less. Of course, maps are not omnipotent, and this is only general. But this map is also bought by the number 1 battalion of the demon-suppressing army for so many years in exchange for countless blood. In this way, this map is incomparably precious. In the early morning of the next day, Su Mu just walked out of the tent and came to the school field outside the camp, but saw that almost all the students were here, and many instructors were also waiting here. Even the handsome Chen Yaonan is waiting here. Su Mu froze for a moment. They all come to see me off. No one said anything, and Su Mu didn't care. Chen Yaonan stared at Su Mu with scorching eyes. Although he couldn't detect it clearly, the aura of Su Mu became much stronger. His heart was shaken. 00. Last night, after announcing this matter, he was still worried about whether it would be dangerous for Su Mu to go out alone. Even his girl, Chen Yunxi, even quarreled with him and forcibly took away the military map he had treasured for many years. But now it seems, does Su Mu need him to worry? There is no need at all. This strength is equivalent to that of generals. As long as you don't go to the inner forbidden area, there is no great danger at all. Even in the outer 3 rings, there are monsters in the 9th level of generals, with tens of millions of strength. But with Su Emu's current strength, it's not a problem if he can't beat and run. Instructor, you really won't let me participate in the training camp? Also at this time, Su Mu walked up to Chen Yaonan and asked, clasping his hands. You heard what I said yesterday, and you asked for it. Chen Yaonan snorted coldly. Su Mu grinned and scanned the crowd of students. Just sue the instructor for such a small matter. Shame. A group of people all had ugly faces, but they didn't dare to say anything. This guy is going to be expelled, isn't it uncomfortable to argue with him at this time? Chen Yaonan snorted again, and then drew Su Emu's attention back. Take off the heavy armor, let's go. After hearing this, Su Mu froze for a moment. Oh, I almost forgot, I'm still wearing this thing. While speaking, Su Mu tore off the weight armor with one hand, and threw it far away by him. This is 100,000 kilograms of heavy-duty armor. When it landed, there was a bang and countless fields of dust were splashed. Everyone's pupils contracted, shocking incomparably. 100,000 kilograms of heavy-duty armor, this is already the heaviest heavy-duty armor, but for Su Mu, wearing it on his body is like not wearing it, and he completely ignores it. And when it comes to taking it off, everyone needs other people's help. Su Mu just like taking off a piece of clothing, she just tore it off. While everyone was shocked, Su Mu spoke again. Instructor, I didn't enjoy the bathing and changing yesterday, and I'm also very interested in the program you arranged later, can you discuss it? Before he finished speaking, Chen Yaonan stared at him. No. He was thinking about cleaning up these Tianzhou monsters, especially Liban. As a result, the well-prepared programs, bathing and changing clothes, were all cheap for Su Mu. Needless to say, those later shows are not very useful to Su Mu. Now Su Mu can rely on herself, so it doesn't make much sense to continue to participate in the training camp. 180. For example, the heavy armor, is it called a heavy armor for Su Mu? Just like playing, how can there be any effect? This is why he expelled Su Mu. On the one hand, rules are rules, he has to give an explanation to other students, and he can also let Su Mu take away those body-tempering pills. On the other hand, it may be a good thing for Su Mu that Su Mu left the camp. So, without waiting for Su Mu to continue, Chen Yaonan could not help but speak directly. Are you going by yourself, or shall I take you? Su Mu smiled awkwardly. Don't dare to bother master, I'll leave now. Saying that, Su Mu waved to everyone. A group of people turned their heads away one after another, but a few people from class 1 nodded slightly as a farewell. Su Emu's eyes fell on Chen Yunxi and said with a smile, thank you. Chen Yunxi's pretty face flushed immediately, and she shouted anxiously and angrily, what nonsense, I didn't help you. Su Mu didn't care either, and then looked at the others. Finally, he beckoned to Zhonghua. When Zhonghua came close, he took out the remaining 10 bottles of pills and handed them to Zhonghua. Take it and distribute it yourself, keep it well, use it as soon as possible, and don't lose it. Zhonghua took a deep breath, put away the elixir properly, and bowed to Su Mu to the end. Brother Mu, okay, don't say anything, practice hard and practice a lot. Although our Zhongling province is remote and poor, we must not be cowardly. We are not weaker than anyone. Su Mu told Zhonghua something. Zhonghua nodded with firm eyes. Don't worry, Brother Mu, we won't embarrass you. But hearing what the two said, and seeing Su Mu give the remaining elixir to Zhonghua, the eyes of a group of people turned green. They want to say one thing, it's mine. Su Mu, the bandit, stole so many pills, he couldn't use them up and didn't return them, but gave them to some people in Zhongxing province. But as if she could guess what they were thinking, Su Mu grinned and clasped her fists at everyone. Brothers, don't worry about what happened before. We have no choice but to borrow some pills from you all because we are poor in Zhongling. When Su Mu spoke loudly, the faces of the group of people were extremely ugly. This is another knife stabbing their hearts. What the hell is it called borrowing? Is this obviously grabbing? Su Mu continued. On that day, I, Su Mu, will rise strongly, and I will never forget the kindness you have given me today. A group of people were almost wiped out. What kind of grace is this? Is there anyone who forces others to show favor? Su Mu grinned. Of course, there is still a little left. I gave it to the brothers in Zhongling. Don't make up your minds. They are also poor. Of course, if you really want to make up your minds, it's okay. I'll come back to you and thank you. Puff. A group of people collapsed. This is the threat of Kai Guago. Anyone who dares to go to Zhonghua and others to ask for pills, just wait for the training camp to end and Su Mu's liquidation. After saying this, Su Mu waved his hand. Let's go, don't miss me. Puff. A group of people stared angrily, wanting to vomit blood, wishing to curse directly, get out of here quickly. On the contrary, Xu Junfeng and other students from Class 1, as well as 27 students from Zhongling Province stepped forward to see Su Mu off. Especially Xu Junfeng clasped his fist at Su Mu. Brother Su, don't worry, there are still 9 days left, we will come to you. Oh, Brother Xu, are you reluctant to part with me? Su Mu turned her head and grinned. Xu Junfeng nodded sincerely. After all, you are the monitor of our Class 1, you are sure we will really miss you. Well, I'm not leaving. Su Mu took advantage of the slope to get down from the donkey, raising her brows in embarrassment. Xu Junfeng's expression changed immediately, and everyone around him stared at him with murderous eyes. He was dumbfounded. He was just being polite. Su Mu wants to leave again. That's okay. Do they want to continue the training after Mu stays? If you do some big things in one day, you will be full just by eating melons, not to mention who knows that it will be your turn to be unlucky on that day. Seeing Xu Junfeng's appearance, Su Mu laughed loudly. Ha ha ha, I really laughed this time, everyone, I will be back. Su Mu held her head high and walked towards the outside of the barracks. At this moment, he doesn't look like he was expelled. Thousands of students and many warriors lined up. This seems to be sending a hero to a long journey. When Su Mu left, everyone heaved a sigh of relief, and some even jumped up excitedly. The big devil is finally gone. The big werewolf Su Mu, he finally left. My elixir is not in vain, now I can finally feel at ease. Outside the barracks, Su Mu looked at the boundless wilderness and the red clouds in the sky, but she was not at all lost. At the 9th refinement and 9th layer realm, his current cultivation has reached the limit. If Chen Yaonan doesn't expel him, he will leave. Of course, he would stay in the camp for a few more days, so as not to be known that he had reached the 9th level. That would be too scary. He is one day, from the 6th level to the 9th level of perfection. This speed is beyond the ability of Tianzhao and evildoers to explain. Su Mu took a deep breath, and was about to step into the fiery land, when a figure appeared in front of him in the next second. It was Chen Yaonan. Chen Yaonan's face was calm, as if he couldn't see any emotion, but he reached out and handed Su Mu a pair of battle armor. This is Mingguang chain mail. I have fought with me for many years, and I gave it to you. Su Mu's eyes lit up. The armor, ordinary warriors will not use it, unless they are participating in the battle. But now that he was going to the land of flames, he was facing monster beasts, and possibly groups of monster beasts, and the battle armor could still play a great defensive role. Su Mu was also not polite, and immediately got dressed after receiving it. Thank you, instructor. Su Mu knew that Chen Yaonan was cleaning him up yesterday, but he also knew that Chen Yaonan had no malice towards him, and now that he came to give him a battle armor is the best proof. But when Su Mu was thinking wildly, Chen Yaonan stared at him. Don't thank me, if it wasn't for someone, I wouldn't bother to care about you. That being said, Su Mu also knew that Chen Yaonan still cared about him. It's just that I can't hold back my face, so I have to come up with such a sentence. Then, Chen Yaonan handed Su Mu a token with a golden ancient character on it, Tang. This is an identity token only for officials in the Detang Mansion, the Martial Arts Legion, or the students of the Detang Martial Mansion. Su Mu and the others are not considered formal Detang Wufu students, but because they need to record information for hunting monsters, they were issued to Su Mu in advance. This token only needs a drop of blood, no refining required. Then Chen Yaonan explained how to use the token. In addition to being used to enter and exit Detang Wufu and other places, the token can also record information. For example, now, to hunt a monster, you only need to take a drop of blood from the monster and drop it on it, and the token can record the information of the monster by itself. When the training session is over, the points and rankings will be calculated based on the record. Later, Chen Yaonan gave Su Mu another piece of information. which was related to the calculation of military merit. Su Mu took it, clasped her fists again to thank her, and then stepped into the land of flames. If you run into trouble, you can go find those two. Chen Yaonan reminded him. Watching Su Mu go away, he also sighed, old and old, I naturally envy these little guys. Chen Yaonan smiled wryly for a while and then left quickly. Su Mu entered the wild monster area, so he naturally couldn't let it go, and had to arrange people to follow him from afar. None of these prides can be lost. Of course, the people who follow are not low level, and they will not interfere with the affairs of these monsters. They just follow from a long distance, and only when they are sure that their lives are in danger will they come forward to make a move. Su Mu embarked on a journey of hunting monsters ahead of schedule. He was the third student who went out to hunt monsters ahead of time. The first two are naturally the two who have already completed body tempering and reached the 9th level of warriors. Zhou Han is the first in the Qianlong list, and Fang Junyan is the second. These two guys are recognized as the arrogance among the students of this year's Datang Mansion. Su Mu entered the land of flames, did not stop at the first and second rings, and went straight to the third ring. With his current combat strength, hunting monsters below the martial artist level is not much of a challenge at all. Therefore, his goal is the third ring, general level monster. And just when Su Mu entered the second ring and headed for the third ring, in a valley on the second ring road, two figures flashed rapidly. Boom boom boom. The air waves between the two were extremely terrifying, and the surrounding trees and even rocks were turned into dust under the air waves. Both of them are young people, and both are descendants. It was Zhou Han and Fang Junyan who the apprentices who participated in the training had not been able to see. At this moment, the two people are playing against each other, but they are on par, each has its own advantages and disadvantages. If you don't know the situation, you will think that it is two strong martial arts masters fighting. In fact, both of them are still in the realm of warriors, and have not broken through the realm of warriors. It's not that they can't break through, they have been able to break through a long time ago, but they have been suppressing their strength. It is said that the upper limit of energy and blood in the warrior realm is 100,000 calories. When the two of them tested, Zhou Han's energy and blood was 93,000 calories, and Fang Junyan's 90,000 calories. Fang Junyan is slightly weaker, but not too weak. Moreover, in the past few days, the two have been hunting monsters and practicing in the wild. Obviously able to break through, but they are all suppressing. The purpose is to reach the limit of 100,000 cards as much as possible. But what they don't know is that the 100,000 calorie limit has long been broken. The limit of 100,000 calories refers to the limit of a non-extreme martial artist, not Su Mu, which is also the limit of an extreme martial artist. At this moment, Zhou Han's qi and blood reached 97,000 calories, and Fang Junyan's reached 96,000 calories, which is not far from 100,000 calories. With the increase in energy and blood, the combat power of the two is also increasing, and it is no longer the 3 million kilograms combat power recorded in the Qianlong list, but now it is more than 3 million, and it is close to 4 million. This strength is already in the realm of ordinary martial arts. Therefore, even if the two of them are just fighting each other on a daily basis, they seem to be stronger than the martial master realm. After a few moves, the two separated and stood facing each other, and some heroes hugged their fists and bowed to each other. Ha 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 ha, Brother Fang, looking at this class of students, you and I are the only ones who look down on the evildoers in the world. Brother Zhou is right, in this generation, only Brother Zhou and I can fight, the others are not enough. The two laughed heartily. The two of them have already entered the land of flame in advance since the end of the test, and have been fighting in the land of flame. Either hunt monsters, or learn from each other. After all this, the improvement in strength is also obvious. Even if the body is tempered to the limit, the blood is still growing. Of course, the further you go to the back, the less room for growth. But both of them held their breath, both want to achieve the ultimate in the warrior realm. You must know that the body of the martial artist is the foundation of martial arts, and the upper limit will be higher in the future if the foundation is solid. What the two of them said was really not pretending, but the truth, because no one else on the Qianlong list was really their opponent. The third place, Chen Yunxi, has a combat strength of only over 2 million, and the fourth and fifth siblings are also about the same. Of course, the current third has been replaced. In the next second, Fang Junyan thought of this. Brother Zhou, what do you think of Su Mu, whom Captain Sun told us the night before yesterday? Su Mu. Hearing Fang Junyan's words, Zhou Han pouted directly. Brother Fang, this Su Mu is indeed not weak. He can defeat Yun Shi and the others in a row, but we can easily do it too, can't we? These words are true. The gap in combat power is not so easy to make up. Even if they were replaced, they would naturally be able to easily defeat the remaining monsters such as Chen Yunxi, Wang's siblings, Xu Junjiao, etc. So, after Zhou Han said this, he waved his hand directly. Su Mu is nothing. The most important task for you and me right now is to raise the energy and blood to the limit as soon as possible, and then condense the essence and blood to break through the martial artist realm. Brother Zhou is right, but it seems to have reached a bottleneck recently, and it is difficult to improve. Fang Junyan frowned slightly. In the beginning, the two hunted monsters took pills and exchanged ideas with each other, and their qi and blood could always improve every day. But now, the increase in qi and blood has been very little. Hearing this, Zhou Han also nodded. It seems that the pressure is not strong enough. Brother Fang, do you dare to enter the third ring with me? Hearing this, Fang Junyan was stunned for a moment, and then his eyes brightened. Brother Zhou, you mean teaming up to hunt down general-level monsters? Zhou Han nodded to confirm. Now even monsters at the level of martial arts can't put pressure on us, only monsters at the general level can do it. Okay, Brother Zhou has this intention, and I, Fang Junyan, can back down. The two of them did what they said, and quickly got up, ready to go to the third ring to hunt and kill general-level monsters. Not only for obtaining military merits, their military merits have also reached hundreds in the past few days. According to the corresponding ranks of military merits, they are all considered as centurion ranks. Their idea is to use the life and death crisis brought to them by super monsters to help them continue to increase their vitality and blood limits. Of course, the danger is great, but they are not really unable to fight. General-level monsters start with tens of millions of combat power, but the two of them are not vegetarians, not to mention a variety of methods, and their own combat power is close to 4 million. With cooperation, they may not be able to hunt and kill general-level monsters. Even if they can't be hunted, it's okay to run away when they are invincible. At the junction of the second ring and the third ring, the two saw a lone figure from a long distance away. Su Mu. The top 3 Tianzhao on the Datang Qianlong list met for the first time. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.